influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
Well, yes. This is 95.9 WZYE 95.9 FM, broadcasting from Newark, Maplewood, New Jersey. The storm is here. I am 1/3 of the DAG Triplets. The other two somewhere, I don't know where. Anselm went to carry some children to a track meet. Tommy MIA. Gary will join us momentarily. So the storm is holding it down. How is everybody? Some storms don't come to disrupt your life. Some of them come to clear a path. How is everybody doing? Let's see who was first in the chat today. I'm gonna have to go to another unit, technology here. Gonna show you how versatile I am. Technology will permit me to see who was first in the chat. I don't want to be incorrect. So let's go see who was first in the chat today. And need I say, a woman is boss again. Correct me if I'm wrong. A woman is boss again. Nadia, is it true you beat out everybody? Nadia, Takesha, Lana. Where all the men? What happened to all you? All this slow? What's going on? You're not drinking enough goat weed? I mean, Ovaltine? Everybody okay? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Till Gary gets here. I have to go and see how I can bring in Tommy to assist me, see if Tommy's in the background. Tommy, are you in the background? Just let me know. I believe I can hear you when you're back there, or Gary. What's going on in Trinidad and Tobago? I understand the Prime Minister had a buffing session today. So, what did our Prime Minister talk about? What did he talk about? Did he buff people? Did he enlighten you? Did he make it sound promising? Is life going to get better? Is the country opening up? I understand the beaches are going to be open up, but he still wants you to fill out a cumbersome TT pass to come into Trinidad and Tobago. Now that ain't sounding good for tourism, eh? I ain't coming to fill out no sort of paperwork, but it's a slap no fine on me. But anyway, we won't get into that. Hi, Takesha. I said hi, Lana. Hi, Vonnie. Is that Vonnie? Vonnie in the house? Who else is here? Let me know. Type your name in the chat. I'm operating two machines here, so I don't want to blow the whole thing. It's me alone on at the forefront here until I get some help, right? In the meanwhile, I will go and try and pull up one of our songs until I find something else here, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, hold on, bear with me. One moment. One moment while we find something here that we can drop and play for you. I hope all is well with everyone. Diana is doing her best. Just bear with me till I can bring someone else in with me here, that we can hold the clip down. And what do? We're going to play our mantra. There we go.
Is Pharaoh still existing? As he before, resembling an Israelite, not being treated right, enslaved day and night. No, we just can't hold this way. children could see their way. We just can't go on this way. Oh, 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 oh. No, 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 no. The poor have to slave night and day for next to nothing pay, so they can't see their way. We don't enjoy equal facility like Pharaoh and company. Brainwashing we say we free. We just can't hold this way. We just can't hold this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't hold this way. Time to make them oppress us pay. We just can't hold this way. So the children could see their way. We just can't hold this way. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, we just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. We just can't go on. We just can't go on this way. No, we just can't go on. We just can't go on this way. No, we just can't go on. We just can't go on this way. No, we just can't go on. Oh Lord, why Lord must we suffer like this? You said that you will take care of the poor, just like you did in Egypt. When Pharaoh had the Israelites in bondage, you delivered them. But here again, we are in the same khaki pants. We just can't go on this way. We have those modern Pharaohs who oppress the poor, who represents Israel. They confuse us with so much lies. Not even thinking that we will realize. And if we criticize, we could be ostracized. We don't know who to trust. That's why I say, Lord, please listen to this prayer that comes from the poor. Please send us another Moses again. Oh, we just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. Time to make them oppress us pay.
Yes, yes, indeed. Time to make them oppressors pay. The people cannot go on this way. I mean, look how long that song was written, huh? And it is so poignant today. Thanks to the mighty explainer. You know, worldwide, it can't go on this way. I mean, you know, I was doing some reading and I read upon how the world emerged from the last pandemic. Gary, you can hear me?
Yes, I can. Good night, everyone.
Good, good. Welcome, Phantom. On the last pandemic, how the world emerged from it. And there was no talk about New World Order and all this stuff. And in this, emerging from this one, you ain't talk about New World Order. So I'm like, where's all this coming from, you know? I saw nothing of that. I saw no mention of it, you know, when the world emerged from the pandemic in the 1918, 1919, 1920. So, Gary, what's
Where,
going on?
where are you seeing this information about the New World Order? Where are you seeing that?
Well, I saw, you know, I heard when I read and it was subtly mentioned by your friend, Dr. Rowley. It was subtly mentioned.
Well, recently?
Not recently,
I've been
but
hearing about it for some years now. Recently, I mean, within the last couple of years, I've been hearing about it.
you know,
We know biblically there's certain things that will take place that you know, and certain powers will try to take power, and certain things are happening in the world to construct that environment for certain forces to take power, biblically speaking. So, I mean, we are seeing some things very realistically according to the predictions and the prophecy. So,
and they're trying to tie it into the crypto coin thing, but then I thought back when they were introducing what do you call these things, the cards, the bank cards,
because
yeah, I was
East,
hesitant.
all this
Yeah,
kind of
I was hesitant when they were introducing them. I was like, huh? With this chip thing, where how I gonna get my money? But it worked. So I'm hesitant about this crypto thing. So I'm
the thing
like,
is going to go to a stage where you're going to get a chip digitally implanted, so you won't have to carry the card, and
oh,
that
jeez.
is where the real danger comes in.
Mm.
So
And they want to call it the mark of the beast. Gary, I'm frightened. I'm real frightened though. I'm frightened. Hi, Joan. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Takesha. If I didn't say hello to you,
welcome
uh,
everyone.
welcome to the village, everyone. Anselm is on his way here. Lana, as like I said, Nadia beat everybody in. She come in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, ninth, seventh, and 15th. So, and I'm holding it down till Anselm gets. If you hear my voice, I've been doing some auditions
Is
all day.
Village the first time I
Yeah.
see Sharon name, but maybe I didn't notice it before. Welcome, Sharon.
Yeah. Hello, Tommy Nesbitt, Commissioner Marshall. He's in the house.
Okay.
So,
Good evening.
yeah.
Seems like
So,
somebody in the house with him too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Stormy, I'm
I
Stormy with you.
got company. I got company. I got company here tonight, but it's all good.
You have Stormy with you, too? Or that Stormy? You team Stormy or?
Some relative.
No, I have my neighbor, Mr. Kuhnhau, and
Oh,
his
Lord.
madam. They're visiting with me here tonight, which is
Oh,
all.
hello, visitors. How you doing?
Hello, good night. How you going? We spoke
I'm
already.
I'm great. I'm great. We're holding it down here for the boss man. So I don't get fired from the work.
Nah,
Yeah,
I-
yeah. So anyway, Gary, the honorable prime minister, he had a buffing session today again. I hear.
It wasn't so much of a boofing session. I mean, it was more. I would say it was more diplomatic than before. I mean, he behaved himself. He didn't lose his cool totally. He
Uh,
did explain why he lost his cool in the parliament, and he seems to have like what's the name? Our MP Rodney Charles seems to get under his skin for some reason or the other.
Everybody just get under his skin. Well,
Yeah.
if people get on the way, you going
Well,
and you going
at
and
least he
shift
explained
Rodney
himself.
Charles now,
He
huh?
expressed himself a
Well,
little more, diplomatic, and he wasn't like, as arrogant or anything like that. But I mean,
but
he had a good press conference today, I think.
Diana, with a name like Ben Skin, you could get under somebody's skin, but this time he didn't.
Hey, watch yourself. My name is a name like Kennedy in Barbados. Watch yourself. All right. Good. Don't go and toil up the Ben skin name. All right.
I mean,
Good.
you couldn't get under skin easy with that. You could,
So you guys see, you see what TNT did?
What
TNT,
TNT? What they do
TNT
now?
that taste of carnival and COVID take off from Trinidad.
Right.
Harry, don't spread no misinformation. Come on.
But,
Well, maybe
believe me.
that was the antidote. That was the
But,
vaccine.
but just before Carnival, Taste of Carnival here, you're seeing so much of deaths, and all of a sudden, Taste of Carnival took place, and all you see is two deaths.
That was the that well, Gary, they may have had herd immunity by now.
That's what it is. Herd immunity took root.
Cause you see what they did. They built cow pen.
You definitely gonna get under the prime minister's skin with that.
You will get him on the show. I think Diana will get him on the show.
Of course, Dr. Rowley is gonna come on the show. I'm going to call him nicely and ask him. And he better come on the show, or I'm coming down to Trinidad and I'm going to walk all over his bald head. Good. You know me.
Diana,
So
you digging in deeper. I don't know what to say about you. You make
What do
it.
you mean? What do you mean? You always get on like this man is. Who is he? He's a mortal man. Why you had to
I
be frightened for Keith Rowley? He's a mortal. If I see him anywhere, I going up to him and hello, Dr. Rowley, I want you on my show. Where's it gonna be? Here's my card. Call me and we gonna discuss. Who's Dr. Rowley?
Hey,
Yeah, so you had to be frightened for he.
no, you don't have
Look,
to be frightened. Nobody has to be afraid of anybody else.
I go in and anybody I see anywhere and I want them on the show, I go in and ask them. I'm not afraid of any.
Hey,
I fear God. Dr. Rowley's a mortal man.
I
Come
fully
on.
agree. I fully agree. But
Oh,
you're gonna rub a lot of people in Trinidad wrong, Diana. You gotta
how I rub them wrong, I'll rub them right. And what's gonna happen? Why am I gonna rub who? No, we on that. How am I gonna rub people wrong? By doing what?
anyway.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna rest
How,
my case.
how am I gonna rub them wrong, Tommy? We start something. Where you running for? Where you running? Don't pick up your marbles and run. Let me talk.
I don't want to get licks.
How you getting licks? You say I gonna rub people wrong. Why you picking up your marbles and running? Let me hear. Pitch your marbles. Pitch your marbles are listening.
Yeah, you back me up in a corner now.
How you mean a back in a corner? You taller than me. I shorter. I 5'7". You 6'2". Pick up your. Let me hear how I rubbing people the wrong way. Because I'm speaking the truth.
I don't know.
Why be rubbing people the wrong way? That is the problem. You see, you can't, you have, it's either or. It's either or. You can, with this on defense thing and when, either or. You either want a good country running properly or you want to stay in the mire forever. That's
Well,
it.
we want to
Yo,
think. We want to think. I think the people want to think that things are looking up, don't you?
You want a good, you hear Lima Wilkie was on here and all the things going on. Now tell me in God's name, in 2022, water in people's house 2 days a week? People need to be washing the tail and cooking and cleaning their house 2 days a week? What kind of madness is that in 2022? You want water every day, you have children to bathe, you have animals to feed, you have your house to clean, 2 days a week water? Come on, Tommy. In 2022, and he said the pandemic ain't over yet, How I, Robin?
Well,
Look.
listen to me. I mean, today I think he was being very realistic. We taking a chance. We see some improvement. You know, it for every country, things can change. You don't know how it's going to swing. No leader can really pinpoint how it's going to swing. But if you handle it arrogantly and in a heavy-handed way, it's just the wrong approach. Sometimes it rubs people the wrong way and causes more damages than if you do things, in a more diplomatic, sensible way. And you have to be open to discussion. You cannot operate arrogantly. Your prime minister, all the
Gary, what do you think? How do you feel about how he's handling it at this particular point?
I was pleased with him today.
So was I.
I was much pleased with him today than ever before.
But maybe he's listening. That was all is. Sometimes he need to listen, and maybe flick him on the ears or something. And he threaten to walk all over his bald head. Then he pull himself up. I tell you, he's a mortal man.
Diana, but you're about this.
How I about this? I ain't about it. I is a Mia Motley kind of girl. Yeah, Mia Motley just tell you like it is. I's a Bajan girl. Tell you like it is.
And you gotta make up your mind either a Bajan or a Trini.
I is a Bajan Trini. My mother and father is two Bajan and they make me in Trinidad. I is a Bajan Trini. Who ain't like that? I don't care. Oh, look at lump it. I is a Bajan Trini. Good. How two cat could go in an oven and make kitten and call it bread? Huh? Nah, can't happen. I is a Bajan Trini.
Well, tell Jack they and Motley to keep what the TNT business.
Do what? Tell Jack there and who?
And Motley to keep all the TNT business.
No, you can't do that because in the height of the pandemic, who was taking care of Trinbagonians? Mia Motley, housing and feeding them And the Barbados COVID situation didn't get out of hand. It spiked, but it ain't get out of hand.
Well, that is the time she should have get up in TNT face, and she ain't said nothing.
Well, maybe she whisper in the ears, but you listen.
That
He's
was
a
no
man,
that was no
huh?
time to spend.
He's a man. He don't want to listen. All your hard ears, all you don't like to listen. All your hard ears from boys. All you just don't like to listen. Don't like, especially when women gain advice. All you don't like to listen. Hey, Joan Jadubir, I met Mr. Rowley. I had pictures with him. Anselm introduced me to him and stuff. He has a nice demeanor in presence. Yeah. Hi, Hailey. Welcome to the village. So I didn't get a chance to listen to his thing today. I was busy auditioning.
But I think it was the best conference I ever seen with him so far.
It was the best conference ever. So what you think about some of the things he said? I mean, does it make sense to you
It was
fully
sensible what he was saying.
yeah? But it
Uh,
makes sense to fully reopen, but you're still keeping on. Tommy dropped off. Are you there? It makes sense to fully reopen, but you're still leaving on the TT pass, which is a very cumbersome thing.
temporary. He said he's even going to look into removing that also. So
He's going to look,
they're going
huh?
to taking things in step. They now it's the antigen test. It's not the PCR test, which the antigen test you can get quicker.
But you still have to pay for that. Huh? You still have to pay for the antigen test. You still have to do the cumbersome TT pass. And for elderly folks who have internet issues, it's hard. That's very, very hard. How can you and if you go make a mistake on that test, you're liable to a fine of how much? I don't know. I think they said $350,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. I ain't going to Trinidad and Tobago no time soon because nobody ain't gonna slap me with no fine for a mistake I may have, honestly make. Right? So they have to remove all them nonsense. Look, Grenada open up. You can go to Grenada. I'll go Grenada first. England open up. They don't want all this hullabaloo. Are you there, Gary, or did you drop off?
No, I mean, I just sent you. I
Yeah.
sent you a list of what was discussed today. So you can.
No, the phone I'm using to conduct the program, so I'm not able to go into it.
Oh, okay.
So I am not going to, I don't want to expose myself to, this long test and this long set of forms, this TT pass, and I am not going through all that. I want to just get on the plane, go on and, huh?
I don't find the TT pass I mean, even though it's a little pain, I don't think it's as difficult as it's made to seem.
Well, ask Tommy. He went
Yeah,
down there. Tommy, you
as of
went down there
tomorrow,
last year. Talk about the TT pass.
It,
as of the
it,
census,
it used to be tough, but it softened a bit.
I helped a couple
It's
of people do it, and I didn't find too much of an issue with it.
okay. All right. It used to be tough. It softened a bit. Okay.
So what do you call it? So they say as of tomorrow, antigen tests will be accepted, right? The
Mm-hmm.
TTT pass will remain for a while. Safe zone restriction is removed. All rivers and beaches restriction removed. No limit to
Mm-hmm.
public gatherings. The Minister of Education will speak next week on the reopening of schools.
Uh-huh.
The statistics show a decline in COVID tests.
Mm-hmm. So why he don't just remove everything? What is this TT pass? What does it entail, Tommy? What is it?
No, it's simply going to a website and filling out certain questions, putting on there that you are vaccinated and so on and so forth. It's just some basic information, and of course, put in your evidence that you took the PCR and that you are negative, and so on and so forth. But now he's saying that all you need is antigen. You don't need a PCR anymore, which is a positive.
So what's the difference between an antigen and a PCR?
A PCR is more involved. An antigen is less.
What do you mean?
Once you get the antigen quicker, the results quicker. I guess it's less costly too.
Oh, Lord. And what about the quarantine time? Do you have to quarantine when you get there?
I didn't hear if you still have to quarantine if you not vaccinated. I didn't hear that, but I would tend to think since he's saying that vaccine and non-vaccine is the same status, I think you wouldn't have to quarantine anymore.
Mm-hmm. So you can come whether you're vaccinated or not.
He didn't specify that, so we still have to clarify that. But he's talking about within the country. Within the country, gatherings, whether you're vaccinated, you're going to school, you're having an event, vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can still mix.
He said foreigners has to be vaccinated, but Trinidadians can come in whether you're vaccinated or non-vaccinated, like before.
I wasn't clear on that.
But before, if you're non-vaccinated, you had to just quarantine for 2 weeks. If you're non-vaccinated, you were, as a Trinidadian, you were allowed to come in. You just had to quarantine. But now
I'm paid for the quarantine.
Correct. But now I think all of that, I'm just thinking that's all out the window now, but we'll see.
You don't know. Was he clear on that?
As far as non-vaccinated, but he didn't specify. He has to clarify. I'm trying to clarify if not unvaccinated nationals can enter the country. That's what I'm trying to get verified.
But he should be clear on that. Ministry of Tourism.
It was more on the foreigners because the reporter asked him the question about the foreigners. So he put, he stepped up on that, and that's where the conversation was more relaying on foreign nationals coming in unvaccinated.
No, but we need to be clear on that. There's a clear message. That should be a campaign now to increase visitorship, to increase his forex.
No, so listen to me. We don't want to open up the door to problems. So I don't blame the Prime Minister there.
What problem, Gary?
We're being cautious.
But Gary, they claim they have a foreign exchange problem.
Listen to me. So listen to me. You don't put your life in danger because of money all the time. So what I'm saying to you, I do agree with him. He's taking things in step. He's feeling it out. And they're trying something. So I have to give him credit for that. I stand with him on that.
But Gary, they said they have a foreign exchange issue. So what's the best way to get?
And increase of debt is more headache. So you have to weigh your options. At the same time, he's making an effort. I agree with everything that he's doing so far.
Okay. So we throw the foreign exchange issue out the window. You're not concerned that there's a shortage of foreign exchange to conduct business? Huh? Nobody answering?
No, well, the boss say if you're a foreigner and you're vaccinated, you're free to come. But if you're not vaccinated, you don't want you.
If you're not vaccinated, you don't want you?
You cannot come if you're a foreigner, non-Trinidadian, and you're not vaccinated. You're not welcome.
But that don't make no sense. That doesn't make any sense. Then the tourists are gonna go elsewhere then.
Diana, they're taking it in steps. They're trying something to see how it works.
That don't make sense, Gary. I mean, maybe taking it in steps. Other places, look, Grenada open the doors. Next door, Grenada open the doors.
This is true. This is quite true. But I mean, our boss man have a different outlook,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else? Anything else you want to touch on in the chat? I don't see anything lined up here. Anything else you want to talk about besides? What else did Dr. Rowley talk about? He said he's opening up the beaches as of what? April 4th? Correct me if I'm wrong. The beaches are opening up on April 4th. I didn't listen to it, I'm asking. I'm just somebody sent me
Yes.
a little footnotes. What else is opening up?
Yeah, I'm looking at it here now. So,
No more safe zone.
as of April 4th.
Safe zone is history.
Safe zone is history. Hello, Zaid. Zaid says Trinidad, half a door open. Oh dear, Zaid. I agree with you. Safe zone gone. What was the purpose of the safe zone in the first place? I wonder what they're gonna do with them cow pen that they make though, Gary and Tommy.
Hey, it worked out. They have herd immunity now.
But what answer my question. What are they gonna do with the cow pen that they make?
Mine more cow and goat or something. God knows what. Mine some animal livestock.
They could put real cow in there now?
Correct is right.
I put a smiley face on my forehead. I'm trying to find a smile. More cow, more goat? Or maybe the people are gonna trash it and sell it as scrap iron.
Well, they don't make the money once already,
What the guy said? Hailey says the purpose. What? Zaid said what? Wait, let me go in the chat. Keith said to the citizens, Trinidad is opening up and to behave. You see the buff in there? All they better behave, okay? Zaid says auction sales. They're gonna sell the cow pen to auction sale. Highly. The purpose was to show us Rowley mad in the head, oh Lord. Joan, I could never believe anything Rowley say. He lies so much, oh Lord. Good night, Carice. Good night. Tommy, Carice said good night. Gary, Carice said good night. Anslam, Carice said good night. What else did he do? What else did he open up? What about the hospital system? What's going on? How many have sick in the hospital and how many how many recovering? What I didn't listen to him because I figure he gonna buff everybody. Blah blah buff. Blah buff blah. Huh? You know them. Ignore my comments. What was your comments, Mr. MC? I didn't see no comment here from you. It was retracted. There's no comment here at all. Anything else, Gary, we need to be talking about? The health minister still crying. So who we have coming up later on, Gary?
We have Senator Jayanti Lutchmedial. She'll be here.
She'll be here. What should we be talking about? Need a talk. What should we be talking about, Gary? Hello, anybody there? All righty. Nobody seems to be there.
Gary's mic is muted.
I didn't mute his mic. All righty. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a song in the meantime while I look for something else to talk about. Here we go.
Oh, yes. Somebody help. Come and put a hand. Come and wipe away the blight and see what the plight that befall the man of this land. What's going on here? I would like to know why the whole world is in a turmoil. So it look as if we fire God from the job and give the work to the Beelzebub. Man, the devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The thing you have to never like understand. The devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The thing you never like understand. Like if Satan in control of running the land. Hey man, oh man. Only wars and rumors of wars. Incurable disease go from sea to seas and they happen without a cause. Strange phenomena now happen everywhere. The callousness of this world have the world in fear. Politics and weaponry have taken its toll. They have the whole world out of control. Man, the devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The thing that happen here, well I can understand like it. Oh yes man. Running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The thing of man never like I understand like if Satan in control of running the land. Oh man. So get at ease. We turn to religion, but then in our quest to do our best we end up in real confusion. Some religious leaders so phony and vain, all our religious morals to go down the drain. Their materialism make them feel them is Lord, robbing the world in the name of God. Man, the devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The thing of going on here well I can understand that the devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The things of God never like I understand. Like he Satan in control of running the land. Oh man.
Yeah, boy, the devil have a hand in running the world. You were going on in Ukraine? Devil have a hand in running the world. Yep. So.
And that's not today. That's for a long time since was. Yes.
Yay! Hip hip hooray!
Yes.
Hip hip hooray! The boss is here. I can ease from the hell now. We're not hearing you.
What's going on, boss man? We're not hearing a word.
We're not hearing you. No, we're not hearing you.
Not a word.
Your voice, your mic is muted. We're not hearing you.
Yeah. Mic is muted or kind
Good.
of thing.
Yeah, bravo. Take it.
Welcome.
All kind of thing going on here, boy. Again, all kind of thing. All kind of. Yeah. So you're going. I see you're going good, man. All was going fantabulous, man. I driving, technology now, driving to come to the studio and thing. I see all you holding it down, all you talking about the Prime Minister, all you talking about Mrs. Kamala Prasad, the Cessa, all you talking about how Dr. Rowley behaved himself today, he buff nobody. It wasn't a buffology today or bufologist. You know what I mean? But I think he gonna be vexed again, because market vendor have a video. We go play that video just now. Market vendor have a video on the Prime Minister as well with what happened with Rodney Charles. So I was at a track meet today and I really didn't have time to listen to the press conference. But I hear Gary saying that he behaved himself. He behaved himself?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was pretty cool, low-key today.
Oh, okay. He was low-key. Let me
I
see.
think so.
Dana, I know the last person you say welcome to was Carice, right?
Yeah, she may have taken a break.
Okay, watch. I ain't reached yet. I come in here about 7:30. Joan is my good friend, you know. Joan Jadu Bear. Joan is my good friend, you know. Joan said, Wall Street, you're late. I don't want to hear about the building. Joan, all you. Oh God, Albert Montano and someone Iowa Station or what? No, Albert. Joan, Rennie Mohammed, let me see. Welcome, Joan. Joan says, Wall Street, you're late. I don't want to hear about the building. Joan, all you going to be hearing about that building for a long time, eh? Joan, Albert Montano, I want to ask you a question. Albert, you know where Chumakak is? Put it in the chat if you know where Chumakak is, Albert, before I start to talk about Chumakak, Lavanto. Eh? Diana, you already admit that, right? Diana Benskin. I feel Stormy chewing up Diana Mike, you know.
I feel that's what already going on. Stormy got
She might
that.
muted. Yeah.
Stormy's got.
Or Stormy just unmute she mic.
Yeah, what's up, guy? My voice in there. My voice, I'm going.
Diana
My voice is
Benskin.
going. Yeah, my voice is going.
Before you met me, you know where Chumakak Lavantel was?
Nope.
Tommy E. Marshall Nesbitt. Before you met me, you knew where Chumakak was?
I never even heard anybody talking about Chumakak. And as many times as I've been to Lavante.
I know Lavantil, but I never knew about Chumakak.
Gary, the Phantom.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Before you met me, you know where Chumakak Lavantel was?
No, sir. Never heard anything about that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It just goes to show you that I tell you all, it only takes one person to make a seismic shift.
I know. I heard about Never Dirty. Moreover, I heard about Bookmala Trace. I never heard about Chewbacca.
Correct is right. Right? So John, I have to continue talking about them building. Right? I can't stop now. The train have already left the station. Albert Montana say you're not hearing anything. Albert, go and take back your the laptop that somebody take from you. And put that one back on. Joan says Rowley don't know their Wall Street. No, that's not true, Joan. Joan, let me tell you something, eh? Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, know where Chumakak Lavantel is? No, you know it is. He marched up there in 2011 when he was in opposition and the building burned down. He marched up there in opposition. He haven't been back since. But he marched up there with Donna Cox, Nylan Hippolyte, Nafisa Mohammed, who was the chairperson at the time of the Sawa Lavantel Regional Corporation. Right? He was up there 2011. Yeah, but them fellas and them done with that. You understand? All of them was up there. You understand? And watch. Look the building. John, you know the building? Look at it. It's still sitting on the John, I think Diana, Gary and thing. I think I should just continue the program, you know. Because I find the program was going nice and soothing, and there was a nice kind of little mellow, and Diana played 2 nice songs there, but you know, we just can't go on this one. The devil have a hand in running the land. And I say things good. Now Joan come and tell me all of a sudden. Joan want to rile me up. Joan, you see the building? Vonnie Robert, where? Vonnie Robert inside, Diana?
You know, but that's a beautiful building, you know.
Boy, you know, the building is fantabulous, splendiferous, and marvelous, man. Look, the building sitting on the 7 years under the PNM. 7 years, the PNM. A community that have never left the PNM. And none of them activists in Trinidad and PNM activists want to talk about that. They want to talk about that. All they want to talk about is UNC and Kamala Prasad business. I don't want to talk about that. Well, unless I have to. But Tommy, Gary,
I'm listening.
Diana,
I'm listening.
why should I want to talk about the UNC and the UNC's in opposition?
Wasting time, right?
Please, I must have time to waste. But that's all they want to talk about. The UNC, the UNC, the UNC, the UNC this and the UNC that. By the way, in the press conference today, they talk anything about the UNC? I didn't see it, so I don't know.
But that's the correct thing.
Fortunately, I didn't see anything like that. Yeah.
You see, look, Takesha saying, look, that building was very nice.
I think it was a more sensible press conference I've seen, which I think was reasonable, what he was saying. I didn't disagree with anything that he was saying.
Gary, how long do you think he could continue like that? Gary, let me ask you a question. If you put lipstick on a pig, what it is?
Hey, all I'm saying...
No, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah. All I'm saying is how he conducted himself was very reasonable.
Oh, so you could take chain up one time and you take chain up. All right.
No. I ain't saying that chain up. All I'm saying today, we're speaking about today.
So you
decision made is they're taking some steps, and they will see how it works, and then they will go a little bit further again.
Gary, come on, man.
But Aslam, you have to realize that every day Eddie same, man. And to me, he's taking a softer, gentler approach.
Boy, watch now. A few days ago, what was his approach in Parliament?
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you in particular with the press conference, the decision being taken by the government, they are taking some steps, and I am happy with the steps. I'm happy how they're moving so far. If I get to something, I will tell them. I will tell anybody.
Gary, I went to a track meet today. Went to a track meet. Everybody walking like normal, not even normal. It's normal. In the school, nobody never no face mask. Nobody. They not no safe zone. Thing open.
Well, since March 1st, mask mandate was removed from the
gym. Thing open. You Trinidad still trying to fool and deceive people, but you go take it step by step. Boy, look. Come on, man, Gary, man. Don't take that chain up so easy, Gary. Gary, you're taking chain up. And I'm surprised that Gary, I thought Gary would have come out blazing, boy.
But for the most part, the attitudes that exist here.
Yeah, I listener. This whole pandemic thing under this current government was a fiasco and a disaster. Gary, do you agree with that?
Listen, that I understand all of that. What I'm saying to you as of today, I'm just referring to today. They made some steps, they made some effort. I'm pleased with the effort. Let's see where it goes. He was reasonable in saying that don't hold him to this because we are still in a pandemic. Things could change, and that all of us, that's fair enough. That's understood.
But Gary, you know what? They should tell we here in America, don't hold me to no mask, don't hold me to no more mask, don't hold me to no more go to the beach, don't hold me to no more just go and play, nothing. Don't hold me to nothing.
Well, it's been described as a pandemic.
You have to watch it and analyze it yourself and say, well, what I'm saying to you is they made some effort. He was not arrogant in being asked some questions, so it was a good press conference. I think I like the direction they headed in. If they keep on that direction, then we head in somewhere. If they backtrack, then, but I think they realize at this point I think they realize at this point they can't continue the way they're going. They have to change their course of action. He even mentioned that him and Stuart Young went to England and nobody was wearing masks except them. So,
Look
these
how
are the
long
things
that
that
was. Look how long that was.
when he took the trip in England. So he noticed certain things. So apparently he paying some attention and a little bit here and a little bit there. So like I said, I'm not talking about the past. I'm just talking about today. Far as what I see, I had no issue with it.
I ain't coming to Trinidad to fill out no set of, put my mic closer to me, no set of paperwork, and then I might make a mistake and they want to slap fine on me. So they need to do away with that
Gary.
stupid TT pass, right? Good.
Yeah.
Which he said they're
Gary,
going to.
let me just
in another
remind
part.
you. Gary, I want to remind you, if you forget it, you seem to
was not
forget
prepared to,
it.
that is what it was. We just were not prepared to accept that. And Mr. Speaker, you don't know the trouble I see. You don't know the trouble I see. I have had to live with that for 12 years.
How are we moving?
When you can't have your way, and when he cannot have his way, Mr. Speaker, his method is to bully. That's what it is. His method is to bully you. That is what I fought against. That is why his influence was terminated. Mr. Speaker, we do not tolerate bullying in the secondary school system. We're not tolerating bullying in the cabinet. We're not tolerating it. And if the member for Diego Martin West wishes a cabinet in which bullying is the order of the day, he's going to have to form that cabinet himself. It ain't going to happen in this one. It's not going to happen. He must learn to behave. I don't know if the member realizes it. I don't think the member realizes it. That when you carry on with hate that you have, it impairs your judgment. It impairs your judgment. That is what it does. And therefore your prescriptions are not straight.
Did she assure you of her innocence?
What do you think she told me? What we talked about? Her guilt? Are you implying that she told me yes, she was guilty of taking public money? I told her yes, is that what you're saying? Are you implying that she told me about her guilt and I covered it up? I am asking you a question. That question you just asked me, whether she pled her innocence, are you implying that she did otherwise and I covered it up?
We know
Gary, you
that.
take China. You take China. We're not take China.
We're not discussing his attitude. We're discussing what was discussed in the press conference today. I mean, his attitude.
Gary, that is Gary. He distracting the nation because from what the real issues are, right? He realized the Paria incident is like a dagger over a dagger. Gary,
I understand all that, Diana. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the plan of action of the government, what was taken today. I'm okay with it. Not before. I understand who Dr. Rowley is. I understand his behavior. I understand the decision was made before. I understand all of that. Remember, there was nobody who understood it more than me because I had to deal with fighting for the people. There's nobody who understood it more than me because I had to put up the fight. It wasn't easy. So I know all these things. I was paying attention to it. I mean, everything that I disagree with, I am fully intact with it. But I'm just saying in particular today, this press conference today, I'm okay with seeing that they're making some effort. And I think it's reasonable.
What effort?
Gary, I'm glad that you're talking that. I wanted to continue to be like that. Consistent.
No, what I'm saying, if I saw something I disagree with, I would have said that. But so far, if you had to sit back and listen to the press conference and then decide, because I looked at it afterwards, but I went back and looked at it, and I like what they're making an effort. They realize they're wrong in some things. They realize they need to change their course of action. All these things are coming into play. So
Gary,
when a person shows you his petticoat, make sure you look and make sure that is the petticoat.
Yeah, listen, I'm not discussing his character. Answer, I know, I'm fully aware who he is. I am fully aware how he trips off and how he behaves. I'm aware of all of that.
Gary, local elections are around the corner.
That's correct.
But
that's all.
I'm
going to say.
I ain't fool. Nobody fool me, Diana.
I ain't saying you. Local elections are around the corner. All right.
I decided with Gary tonight, because the only constant in life is change.
Tommy, come on.
Tommy, look how much opportunities we have given that man to change, boy. Only listen to this. Look, this is just the other day.
Rate the Prime Minister's trademark impression.
So we want to know if this is a blunder on the part of the Prime Minister.
I want to know.
What?
I want to know if it belongs to Dominica.
This is the Prime Minister of that Antigen.
If it's to Dominica. I'm not here, I'm working on it.
And if you oppose him strongly, Mr. Speaker, he becomes a raging bull. He becomes a raging bull.
Prime Minister, in terms of measurability, Mia Motley left Guyana with 10,000 jobs. Would it not have been better to go to Guyana than to go to Qatar?
What do you have in Guyana? Why don't go to Guyana if you want to be in Guyana? As a member of parliament in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, you're always talking about Guyana and Barbados. If you're unhappy here, you're free to go. Nobody has tied you here. Don't come and talk to me about me and what. I am the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and I speak for Trinidad and Tobago, and I look after Trinidad and Tobago's interests. And if you have interest in Madam Speaker, what is offensive about this? This is the member who disgraced us in New York. You are the only member of any government. The only member of any government that met with.
And he not listening to the speaker.
Speaker is on her left.
We're going to have to bring Rodney Charles here and let him explain himself.
Yeah, he's not chairing Balizé House General Council meeting.
Prime Minister.
This groundbreaking teeth cleaner is disrupting the dental industry. This brand new teeth cleaning invention is taking over the dental.
When a person show you their true colors, Gary, all you could go is on their true colors. That's all I say.
Yeah,
and
you can't come one day, Gary, and all of a sudden you change it.
Discuss Dr. Rowley as part of the topic is something else. I was talking about the press conference, decision made, the things they have improved.
Gary, and that is how people like Keith Rowley fool the populace. He waves trinkets in front.
I'm not saying.
Gary, he waves. Gary, you have to understand me. Way men like Keith Rowley operate. They wave trinkets at you, and when you're close, and listen to me, and he dangle things at you and entrance you, and gets the prize from you. Yeah, you have to see past Keith. Look, all you get to give me vex now. Look at my vex.
If we want to discuss Keith Rowley, something else, I'm talking about the press conference. There's two different things.
And the Keith, I'm talking about the press conference. He dangling a trinket in the press conference. The local elections are around the corner, so he dangling this nice behavior in the press conference.
For whatever reason, all I'm saying is the adjustment.
Oh God, you know that's why Trinidad is so easy to conquer. You think he could go in front of Bajans? You think he could go in front of Bajans with that and dangle that behavior in front of we and tell we shit? You mad? You think he could go in front of press conference?
Man, hold on. Look at this guy. Take this guy. Guy, this
thing. Hey, amigo. Sí, hombre. Let me introduce to my little new friend. Yeah! Yo! Yeah, the man will fever. Hey, yeah, the man will fever. Yeah, the man will fever. Hey, yeah, the man will fever. Yeah, the man will fever. No, yeah, the man will fever. Yeah, the
Hey, Aslam, penguin, doggy, look aboard.
Penguin?
He is waving a trinket in the form of in that press conference because the local elections are coming. You have to see past it. Come on, people. And then and once he gets what he wants, hey, the old and real person coming out. All you see past it here, you come all year long.
It's not now we dealing with Dr. Rowley.
So you come and tell me about you like what you see in the press conference. Yeah?
Gary, how a man will come 2 days before and was a mad bull. Mad bull fever was total. Mad bull fever. And all of a sudden he come. And he changed.
Nah, you can't fool me. You ain't fooling this Bajan. You're not fooling me. You're not fooling this Bajan. No. Top of the hour.
Watch out for Senator Jayanti when he come back.
Yeah.
It's slow answer me internet.
Yeah. All right, we go get that one when we come back. That's on WZYE 95.9 FM, as well as you, individuals with the DAG Triplets 0.9 FM. We're gonna go for a quick station identification, and when we come back, we should have Senator Lutchmedial here in the village with us on WZYE 95.9 FM. Should I play that mashup before we go for the break, bro? I like that one too bad.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Help! Somebody help me!
Like, I ain't the man wanna get help, nah?
Help! Somebody help me! I'm looking for Jacka. Boy, I try to go wrong the country, you know. I don't know what to do again. Looking to buy a donkey to sell coconut in town. Can't afford to buy a pickup to tote me nuts around. So I gone up in the country looking for jackals to buy. But everybody I check, just keep on telling me. They say up here do a donkey, aliment a plenty. Up here do a donkey, aliment a plenty. If you want to see real donkey, aliment a plenty. If you want to find real donkey, aliment a plenty. Donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey with PhD, doctorate, law degree, donkey that dance for so, don't know from head to toe, looking for a donkey. You want to find real donkey? Fat donkey, maga donkey, any kind you can get it.
We are back with you. It's in the village to the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. You know, all
whoa, donkey. Whoa, donkey.
We shouldn't be upset with Gary. Yeah? We should
we're
actually
not upset. We're having...
be happy. No. We should be happy that Gary is moving towards the PNM.
We're having...
That guy, Gary's
Gary
light at the end of the tunnel.
Gary voting PNM.
He's shifting. He's shifting. You know, he's shifting his yellow behavior.
Gary voting PNM.
To come
No,
into
it's
the
not about voting PNM or UNC. The thing about it, I'm not discussing Dr. Rowley behavior. I've seen some improvement in his behavior today.
Gary, one press control and nice improvement. All you have to see one Gary.
We talking about today.
Yeah, I'm saying one.
Maybe Sharon.
Maybe Sharon. Jacket on. If the man show a good face today, you have to acknowledge.
Tommy, what happens if he goes back to what happened when he reverts back to normal now? What is it?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, we'll deal with that then.
Yeah, but I said
you want to
it
forget
was
anything that happened
good.
in
It
the
was a
past.
good press conference. We're not discussing Dr. Rowley behavior. We all know how Dr. Rowley acts. That is not what we're talking about. The thing about it is we just was discussing the press conference, the topics, the improvements that the government has made. The government has recognized they have to do certain things.
And you know what I suspect? I suspect those questions may have been determined, because he likes that sort of thing. He don't like you to come and throw a surprise question. He feels more comfortable, likes to send in questions beforehand. So maybe that's why he felt it came off as friendly.
I'm surprised he didn't chew up Washi. I'm surprised he
Huh?
didn't chew up. But he was good. He was good today. He even talked about how much he liked Rodney Charles.
Oh Lord.
Gary, you know why, Gary? He gained so much thunder outside of Trinidad and Tobago, right? For his behavior. His behavior was unacceptable, unbecoming of a prime minister.
Thank you.
Bad manners.
Yep, all up and down CARICOM. Yep,
all up and down CARICOM, they're talking about him. All up and down.
Yep.
Come on, man. You're making Trinidad look like some kind of.
Are we switching the topic to Dr. Rowley's behavior or the press conference and what was?
He
But easy man run the press conference. He was in charge.
Gary, come on.
You want to go there? We could go there, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but let me go there. He's in charge of the press conference.
Okay, so today was Dr. Rowley was on his best behavior.
All right, okay. All right.
Maybe he had a good breakfast.
When we see more of that behavior, when we see that behavior consistently, then I go change my thinking about him. When I see that behavior consistently, you don't just come one day and change. Yeah, Gary, you know why they put icing on a cake? You know why? You know why, right?
To hide the flaws.
Yeah. Tommy, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You put icing on a cake, you don't know if the cake is black, brown, yellow, pink, green. The only time you know what color the cake is when you remove the icing.
Yep.
When you cut it.
Cool. Talk to your people in Chumaka about that, buddy.
Yep.
But you didn't know that? They know that? They know him. They already know him, you know. These are come to no press conference and make it look like if he, all of a sudden, he become a sane person. This fella is an unhinged person. He's just unhinged. And I've told you all, Dr. Rowley has become a despot. Only look it up. He's a despotic leader. Look it up. Plain talk, bad manners.
And when you have a person that people are afraid to stand up against in a party, because when you and I hear Anselm say, who's going to stand up against and fight for leader, to carry the party forward?
Nobody.
Like
nobody.
What do you mean nobody? What do you mean? What do you mean you can't? What do you mean you cannot?
I'm talking about easy a change person today. Boy,
what do you mean?
What do
you mean you cannot stand up against Keith Rowley?
You cannot.
What do you mean you can? And Anselm, I sat and I mulled that over.
Let me be real clear. Today, the Prime Minister behaved himself very well. Today.
Gary, but you
Gary,
still cannot.
He's supposed to behave himself all the time. He's the Prime Minister. Well, what is? You could come and call people imp, pimp, and chimps. You're a Prime Minister, and you call people imps, pimps, and chimps.
And nobody can stand up to take leadership of the party because they're frightened for you. But
and
then
Parliament, I'm going to ask you a question. When you move to Barbados now, move to Guyana, move
and the speaker and all, she can't get it. What? Nah.
Gary, when you show me your true colors, that's all I could do by.
Nah. No. So wait now. Who's the deputy leader of the PNM?
No, don't talk about that.
Remind me now. Go remind me.
Don't about that. Gary partner.
Heinz.
Gary partner. Yeah.
So wait now. Heinz can't challenge him for leadership of the party. Everybody frightened me. So I don't comprehend it. I don't comprehend it. Everybody so then he's a dictator. Then everybody frightened me.
Tommy, you believe anyone inside of the current PNM cabinet going to put them up for internal election against Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. Do you believe that?
If they can't win, they might as well just hang it up.
But they don't know. It's better to try and fail to try.
So what are you talking about? Local internal elections in the PNM now?
Well, let me tell them something.
Throw your hat in the ring, answer.
Well, listen.
Yeah, you know what? I should throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah. Why not? Answer. Give me a portfolio now. I go run against him.
Are you a party member, a registered party member of the PNM?
Anselm, let Mr. Garvin.
To be honest with you.
Anselm, let Mr. Garvin Nicholas get on a serious note, Garvin. Let Mr. Garvin Nicholas get me back my ID card. Let me go and register. I will run against Keith Rowley. I will go and register in his constituency. I will run against him. Who frightened for he? I frightened for he. I will run against Keith Rowley, even if I don't win.
But Diana and Tommy, I'm somewhat surprised that you two, you know. I have to be honest. That
I will go and run against Keith Rowley.
Yeah, that you take chain up today. You see the man come. We don't know what he could have drink a Molly before he comes. Or drink a sorrow.
We were just dealing with what happened today. You know, we that's
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. All you come and see that man one day.
As a matter of fact, I'm going in through my car and running through my car. Somebody give me an address in through my car. I going in through my car and running through my car. Or beat up.
Diana is not that simple.
Honey, let me go. All right, I'm going into St. Augustine, where I'm born and raised.
No, you can't run. You have dual citizenship. You can't run.
I will give up citizenship and go and run against Keith Rowley.
You give it up?
I will do that.
Which party are you running for? You gotta go
I
for a party.
will run in St. Augustine. Well,
Which party you going with?
I will run against. I will have to run with PDP against Khadija Amin.
What?
You have to remember 2 years. Remember that, eh?
Only 8%. WZYE 95.9 FM in the village. Diana Waveney Benskin, Stormy the Storm McDonald said she going. She giving up. She giving up. She Belgian citizenship. She American citizenship. And she go down run with PDP.
I ain't giving up my Belgian. Nope, I ain't giving up my Belgian citizenship for nothing because the Constitution recognizes me as a Belgian citizen, whether I like it or not. So I can't give that up. No, I do not. I cannot give it up, Anselm. It is something I cannot give up. It's something that's you don't understand. I'm born abroad of Belgian citizen, and I'm considered a Belgian citizen, whether I like it or not.
In your current firm,
I mean, I can't run.
Cancel Christmas it over.
I mean,
Before you started over.
I'm born in Trinidad of Belgian parents, and I'm considered a Belgian citizen by descent, whether I like it or not.
You took Belgian citizenship.
You see, you're not. Answer me your head hard. You're not listening. Listen to what I said. I said.
Yeah, but you know, them say that you are not allowed. You would not be allowed to run in Trinidad.
Oh, you're not listening. Oh, you're not listening. The Constitution of Barbados recognizes me as a citizen, whether I like it or not.
Trinidad don't care about that.
You have a passport.
But then tell Barbados to change their constitution. Then tell Barbados to change it.
You have a Barbados passport?
But of course.
But of course. Cancel Christmas. It's over for you long time.
I mean, cancel Christmas. The Constitution of Barbados says I'm a Belgian citizen.
But when you was born, did you have a passport? When you was born in Barbados, did you have a passport or did you go and get a passport?
When I was born in Trinidad, I didn't have a passport.
No, what you're shifting the goalpost, man. You get some
I didn't have a Trinidadian passport neither.
All right. When you get Belgian citizenship, did you go and get a passport? Belgian passport. All right, done. Your MP running days done.
I mean, my MP running days done.
These are non-starters as MPs concerned.
I will challenge the backside on that.
You will lose.
And I will win. I will win.
Oh, you will win.
I will win.
The Constitution
Because
of
it is
Trinidad
not,
and Tobago
no, watch
says.
it. No.
Yeah.
It is not something I had to apply for. It is something that is given to me because I was born in Trinidad and my parents are Bajan. So I automatically, it was endowed upon me by the Constitution.
So
It's
wait
not
now.
something no. It is not something I had to go and apply and swear to. It is something that I was born
Okay,
into.
fine. But let me ask you a
Okay,
question.
good. All right. So,
Question.
you could go ask me whatever question you want. Barbados have to change their constitution there.
But let me ask you a question.
It is
Is it
something
okay?
that was endowed to me. Good. I done talk.
Endowed, boy.
See if
That's
Senator
endowed, boy.
Jayanti is there.
Now, Shindi, listen. When you were born and your parents were Bajan and you get automatic citizenship because of your parents, right? Did Barbados give you a passport when you were born because of your parents' citizenship?
Yep. All I had to do was show my mother birth paper when I went Barbados, and they gave me a Bajan passport. Boom.
You didn't have to apply for it; they just give it to you.
When I show my mother birth paper, they tell me where to go, and I get a Barbados passport and ID card.
So you didn't have to apply for it.
I show my mother birth paper and ID card, and I get my ID card and passport.
All right, okay. So
I didn't have to go and do a set of drama like Trinidad.
You cannot be an MP. You cannot be an MP in
Well,
Trinidad.
me and them go fight. Because the Constitution of Barbados says I am a Bajan, whether I like it or not.
What?
I didn't ask to be a Bajan. Good.
Don't call my Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago name on this program. Come on.
Barbados don't want Diana all that old talk. Hey, watch yourself, fish stick.
Who said that? I agree with that.
Barbados will take me any day, my man. Any day, boy. On my US naturalization thing, I have Barbadian. Watch it, boy.
Takesha says, when you were showing shades at the senator.
I am a Bajan.
Jones say he's drinking a cold carib for you tonight.
I is a Bajan. All right, good. What? Diana Wall Street being difficult. It's best to stay away from teeth. I know it's TNT. I know it's Trinidad is difficult. But if I want to, they can't stop me from being a senator. Cannot. I will take them to court.
They will stop you. You just can't even run.
Anselm.
Yeah.
It is Barbadian citizenship is something that was bestowed upon me here. Okay, good.
But then
all I have to do is quote the Barbados Constitution to the judge. All right?
It says, whoever
the judge is, the Barbados Constitution says, having duly born abroad to Barbadian parents, you are considered a citizen by descent. Boom.
Right. Okay.
I done talk. I didn't ask for citizenship. I am considered. I considered a citizen by descent. Me didn't ask them. They say I was a citizen by descent. So where? Huh?
What's the Rambo in the US has the same status?
Thank you, Tommy. Good. They didn't ask for it. They considered. That's the constitutional law.
You have two chances of running for MP, slim and none.
Okay. We'll see. You know, if I wanted to, I would challenge them and take them upon it, Anselm. And I will prove you wrong.
Why you want to lose? Why you want to pay money and lose?
I will prove you wrong.
Let's bring in our first guest here. Let's bring in our first guest. You're going to lose Diana Benskin.
I will prove you wrong.
Hey, listen, I don't have no problem. Let's bring in, is it Mrs. or Mrs.?
Miss.
Miss Jayanti Lutchmedial. How are you doing?
Good. I'm fine. How are you?
Miss Lutchmedial.
Before we go, Miss
Fabulous,
Lutchmedial.
Marvelous, and tremendous.
What school did you go to, ma'am?
Well, let me introduce the thing around.
It's like I think I went to school with her, but go ahead.
High school?
Yeah.
I went to Naparima Girls.
I went SAG, so we might have crossed paths.
Diana, don't try that now, man.
No, SAGs and Naparima, we have a sistering thing. The names sound familiar. Yeah.
Does he pass you anyway when you was going
No, we have you from Chumacak, what you know? Sure.
you say, all the pass each other.
No, what he know, now, Miss Lutchmedial, what he know, eh?
Yeah,
So drink water and mind your business now.
Miss Jayanti Lutchmedial, welcome to Individuals with the DAG Triplets on
How you
WZYE
doing?
95.9 FM. Of course, the DAG Triplet is D. D is no other than Diana. That's the person who was just speaking. She's also considered to be the storm. I am
Let you see my face here. See,
I am also
I came
I
out
am
of the
also
broadcast a bit.
That's A. And G, of course, is Gary. Gary is the Phantom. And then we have a fourth person with us. Tommy Nesbitt. He's a commissioner here in Newark. Miss Lutchmedial, welcome back to Individuals with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here again.
How are you doing this fantabulous day in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, as you know, the government finally announced that they were, lifting some of these very, to me, unnecessary restrictions that have been in place for some time. I think it's long overdue. So I'm just gauging the reaction of people. And of course, now we want to see if people would be responsible in how they carry about themselves. And we have to see the impact on the COVID numbers. I think that it's about time. It's actually been exactly 2 years since the day that we had our first COVID death. So in the last 2 years, we've lost about 3,500 or more people to COVID. And I think it's something that, the country is a little bit wary and the economy has taken a hit. So the removal of the safe zone restriction, for example, we're hoping that the economy will breathe a little bit. But at the same time, we're hoping that people will be responsible and act responsibly. The mask mandate remains in effect. No more gatherings no more restrictions on public gatherings, which I think would be, I really thought that one was long overdue. So having regard to the fact that they were allowing, what we saw for Carnival in terms of people gathering in confined spaces and fairly closed up spaces to attend events and all of that, but the safe zone concept is what they were using. So let's see what happens. The country seems very happy.
But Senator Lutchmedial, thank you for taking the time to join us, sister. But
Sure.
What I noticed, and I was saying before in the show, that before COVID death before the Taste of Carnival, COVID was so dangerous. So then all of a sudden Taste of Carnival take place and COVID run away. So I think I've been government.
Well, I am quite I'm convinced. Well, I shouldn't say convinced, but I suspect that the way that they have started to classify the deaths has changed. A lot of people who contract COVID actually don't die from COVID, but I think they have been dying because of their from what I understand, there was no link between the parallel healthcare system where they were placing people who were COVID positive and the regular healthcare system. So if, for example, you're on dialysis and you have, dialysis is something that when you have severe diabetes and you have problems with your kidneys, you need to do dialysis. But you contracted COVID. You were being placed in a COVID facility and you weren't being treated for your underlying medical conditions. And I think that contributed to the high death rate. So I think a lot of deaths were classified as COVID deaths. And strangely enough, all along I've been hearing doctors, Dr. Fuad Khan is one. I know I've seen a lot of commentary coming out of him about how they were classifying the deaths. And strangely enough, around the time that they wanted to have the Taste of Carnival, when I saw the numbers going down, a lot of people told me, and I don't know if it's true or not, but that the way that they've been classifying the deaths has actually changed a bit. And, so the thing about the whole parallel healthcare system is I think that it was a measure that perhaps initially when you needed strict isolation, it was a quick measure to put in place, but I don't think that over the long period of time that we've been dealing with COVID, that the parallel healthcare system really addressed the needs of people who were COVID positive. Look at how many people tested positive for COVID. I had COVID, and I'm lucky that I had no real medical condition. I didn't have to go into any health center. I was fully vaccinated. In fact, I was vaccinated and boosted when I got COVID. So it was like a very mild cold for me. But with the amount of people getting COVID, you had to really develop a parallel healthcare system that could treat people for their underlying medical conditions. And I just don't think that happened. And I think that's why we saw the death rate. But yeah, I believe as well that numbers have been massaged and manipulated, and the classification of deaths and so on has been very has been changing. And I think as well the amount of testing that is done and how it's being reported, in order for the numbers to look like they're going down in a particular week or going up in a particular week. I think that's what we've seen a lot of that, because if you pay attention to the numbers, the number of positive cases being reported every day, and you look at the amount of tests being actually done from one day to the next, you realize that it's just the number of tests that's done that affects how the cases are reported. And so it's a kind of what do you call it? Creative way of dealing with these statistics, I think, that we've seen a lot of.
You know, one of the things that we were hearing about is that if you fall off a ladder and you break your foot, it was COVID. You know, these are the kind of misreporting things. And it was for more than one person. You know, it was too frequently. So a lot of people were saying that it was a lot of misinformation being reported as as COVID. So I think somehow they have come to clarify that. I've seen a sudden change in the government's behavior in reference to the restrictions, and I was saying earlier, I was pleased to see what the government decision was, that they realized some things and they had to make some adjustment. I don't know what kind of caused this suddenly, but there's a sudden awakening.
Well, I think, just like I said, I think that lifting some of these restrictions has been very long overdue. But I was telling someone the other day, and they told me, they said they felt the same way, that the government held these things almost like trump cards in their back pockets, waiting for an opportune time to do it. So when the big issue arose with the Mosquito Creek, with the road with the crack opening up there, and the failure of the roadway, all of a sudden, they lift restrictions on the beaches. It's like a distraction mechanism, you know what I mean? And I think at this point in time, well, they have a lot that they need to distract from. First to begin with, you have the Paria incident, you have the Police Service Commission incident, you have rising crime, you have Gary Griffith coming out with a lot of information about political interference in the police service, all these different things happening right now. And so I think, and people have been starting to really speak out on the issue. So I don't think they had much of a choice but to come and do it. I don't think that in the last, I would say at least 6 months, the management of COVID by way of the restrictions and so on has not, in my view, been guided by science. It's been guided by the need for convenient distractions, so to speak, by the government, and really needing to create a diversion. They are really good at that. I have to say, I give them credit for distraction, diversion, and propaganda is really the hallmark of the government, I think, and I think they do it very well, because every single time we had something that was really occupying the minds of people and people being very critical of the government, they adjusted beach time or open rivers or do something like that, and all of a sudden people just got totally distracted by those things and stopped talking about the issue at hand, like whatever was going on. So it's one of those things. It's sad, but I find it's very convenient how they use these things.
No.
Answer, go ahead.
Yeah. No, Senator, I know you were coming, right? So I read the checklist. That is a thing put on by, when important people come on the program, you had to do a little homework, you just, when people like you, you had to do a little homework, right?
Right,
and
I'll Google search and check them out.
What was that?
I'll Google search and check them out and see what they are.
Yeah. Just a little work now, just to make sure that I could ask some questions that kind of make sense. You know what I mean, right? I want to focus on something you says, right? You said, and this is a quote: "I don't think that people in most cases in this country are born inherently bad. In crime, you have the theory of nature versus nurture. Nature versus nurture. Talk to us a little bit about that, exactly what you mean. For those who haven't read the checklist, I mean, when you talk about, I mean, I agree with you in that people are not born inherently bad, you know, and
So
it's
right.
just,
Have you ever looked at these like series called Criminal Minds and stuff like
yeah,
that? You
yeah,
would
yeah,
see
yeah.
that, right? So and it's more common, I think, in the US. Now, I don't know if it's common here at all because we don't have, that type of psychological profiling and so on of people. But we don't typically have a lot of cases where crime is committed by persons who are suffering from mental or psychological disorders, diseases, that kind of thing. I would say in terms of sex crimes, yes, of course. But in terms of our murders, for example, robberies, kidnappings, things like that, they tend to be driven by other factors. We have two sets of, I remember years ago, a police officer told me, he said people is only kill for two things, love or money. So you have a lot of crime driven by economic circumstances. People want, and I'm not saying it's right, but poverty breeds crime, right? And the problem too is that people are prompted or encouraged to get into crime because it's seen as an easy life, an easy way to make money, as opposed to going through the system of educational opportunities and things like that. People tend to feel very distant. Children coming up through the system who, for example, may have like a reading disability, and in the school system ignore them and ostracize them and tell you, if every time you're 7 or 8 years old, you're branded as a dunce and you fail common entrance. Well, back in the day, you fail common entrance. So now you just put into a school for the sake of putting you there, but you're not really given the assistance you need. So that by Form 3, Form 4, you're failing everything. Nobody's bothering with you. You come from a home with parents who themselves aren't very educated. There are very few cases I've seen. Well, I shouldn't say few, but there are cases where people could just self-motivate themselves out of those circumstances. But by and large, a lot of them become disenchanted with life, and they become easy targets for persons who want to run a criminal enterprise. I've raised this concern before, and I continue to raise it, where you have, for the last 2 years, a number of children who have not had access to education. What is going to become of them? What is also going to become of the whole generation of migrant children that are in this country who are not getting an education, who are basically just surviving out there with their parents, standing up by traffic lights, begging, doing odd jobs, going with their mothers to clean people's houses, these little children and so on. Because of course, a lot of our Venezuelan migrants who have been given a little card and allowed to stay here, no one has looked into the issue of the children and if the children are being given access to schools and to any sort of education. So you're going to have a whole generation of children coming up now with no education. We already have limited job opportunities. The economy is stagnant. And what is that going to do? It's going to breed crime. So when I say nature versus nurture, it means that we don't have that many cases, at least not documented, of people being born with some sort of evil motive or developing some sort of murderous
Or natural.
psychological type of something that like when you read about serial killers, for example, it's a compulsion. It's something that they have to do to get satisfaction or something like that. We don't have that type of crime. A lot of it in Trinidad. We have crimes based more on people's desire for financial gain, or on the flip side, like I said, it's love for money. You have the tabanca type murders, the violence against intimate partner violence, we call it. People wanting to harm a spouse or ex-lover or something like that, and those are the types of problems we have, and they are problems that could be addressed by early interventions. So when I said that, I was speaking about the context of, I always say crime has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning being these types of things where you try to address societal problems that contribute to crime and turn people to a life of crime. The middle being when you actually have crimes being committed, you need to have prevention and detection. Prevention being you have a strong police presence, you have things like CCTV cameras, you have DNA, things like that, so that people know they're going to get caught, and that acts as a deterrent, for example. And then you have the end, which is really the prosecution, conviction, and rehabilitation, because in almost no case is someone going to stay in prison forever if they are convicted. They will ultimately come back out into society, and you don't want to release someone. And what I have seen now is that people who go into our prison system come out worse than they went in, you know, because of how the prison system operates and the conditions in prison and so on. They come out. If you went into prison as a, let's say, a 19-year-old who grew up with a very hard life, you grew up in a area where I was rampant in crime, you never got education, you didn't grow up with a proper family structure, you drop out of school, nobody cared about you. By the time you're 15, some community leader, quote unquote, encouraged you to sell drugs for him, and you sit down cleaning weed and bagging it out and selling to people all over, and you that's how you afford, your little nice shoes that all your other friends have or whatever it is. And then you get caught and you go into prison at 19 and you serve 2 years and you come out at 21. If you are branded for life, sometimes you don't even learn anything, any skill. Nobody wants to hire you. Even if you had any sort of talent before, you could do a little plumbing or electrical, or you learn something, auto body works or whatever. I know the prisons, they have some systems. In fact, I think those guys who escaped over the last week, they were brought from Carrera Island to the Golden Grove facility to participate in a type of skills training program or something like that. But are the opportunities there when you come out of prison and people know you came out of the prison? Are they going to hire you? So all of those things that's the end game now, where you have to be able to rehabilitate and reintegrate people into society in a way that they don't become repeat offenders. Because if you come out of prison and you've had a very negative experience, which a lot of people have in the prison system, you come out even more bitter, more dejected, and without any opportunities. Really, it's just a matter of time before people tend to and that's why we have such a high rate of recidivism in Trinidad and Tobago. Is because we're just not creating, I think, the right opportunities for people to be rehabilitated and to be reintegrated properly into society. And of course, the psychological impact of living for a period of time under horrible conditions in the prison is also an issue that's causing a lot of problems that I think right now in our country.
So there's a quote that says it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. I think that's part of what you say.
Yeah,
Senator.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I sit on the Joint Select Committee for National Security, Dr. Munilal and and we had one as the opposition members. So we had one session where we were talking about gang violence, and I raised with the Ministry of Education about assistance to children with learning disabilities and so on. And my own experience is that it's extremely poor. It's really poor. It's really bad. So children who go into the system who have and these aren't problems that cannot be fixed or cannot. Not when I say fixed, it's not that they can't get an education. It takes a little extra. And the Student Support Services Division of the ministry is severely understaffed. What they are supposed to do is assess the children and provide what you call a student aid, so that the children could be assisted in integrating into a regular school and all of that. You have parents who are, and I have first-hand experience with this, the parents are on waiting lists for 2 and 3 and 4 years sometimes to get an aid assigned to their child, depending on which county you fall into, because it's done by the counties. Like County Victoria has a long waiting list, for example. I know St. Patrick is a little bit better. And so these children for years just end up falling behind in their schools and classes, and when you don't treat, and it's not just about getting an academic education, it's also the way the children end up being socialized, whether they are bullied in school and all of that. And when you talk about broken children, that's what happens. We are producing and churning out broken children who end up being easy targets for persons who will influence them to turn to a life of crime.
Now, you also said, right, you said you were part of a bail case and you were passionate about it, because let me tell you something, Remand Yard has turned from a place where you secure people awaiting trial into a place where you're creating criminals. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, exactly. But so, the case of bail now,
No, is that the
of
recent
bail.
case? Is that the recent case?
Yeah, the recent case where we argue that the judicial, yes, baby, we argue that the judicial officer should assess the circumstances of the case and decide on bail. That the parliament shouldn't put in place any absolute restriction on bail. So this week, for example, I thought it was a nice side-by-side comparison. A man awaiting trial since 2014 for murder has not yet had his trial. So he's in remand yard. And the evidence in the matter is not it's not a strong case, let's put it that way. I read the judgment of the master, Nalini Singh, who I actually know. She's a very experienced. She started off in DPP's office, spent many years there. She's been a magistrate for years. So she's a very experienced judicial officer in criminal cases. And she set out very clearly the facts of the case and all of the considerations. And she ended up giving bail to this person charged with murder, but she imposed something like 20 conditions. And the conditions range from, no contact to, yes, no contact. I'm sorry, my daughter is
That's all right. That's all right. That's all
yeah,
right.
no contact with people, checking in with the police station, lots of different things, where you must reside. It's very stringent conditions. You see, at the same time, I read another story where a man charged with what was traditionally a bailable offense, I think it was assault or something like that, was refused bail because of the number of convictions he had previously, and other factors, the strength of the evidence. For example, you have a live person who gave a statement, I think, who would have attested to it. You have medical reports about the injuries suffered by the person, etc., etc., and he was denied bail. Every case has its own circumstances, and I think you have to understand the purpose of bail. Bail is really not supposed to be punishment because somebody enjoys the presumption of innocence. Bail is really to secure attendance in court and to make sure you don't abscond. What has happened now, and the trend has been that you say if you commit more than 2 offenses, or you're accused of committing more than 2 offenses, no bail for you. If you commit a certain type of offense, no bail. Well, murder has always been no bail. So what you have happening now is remand yard being, and of course, matters taking forever to move through the court. Remand yard becomes a place where you spend 5 to 10 years waiting on a trial where you may ultimately be found not guilty. And the conditions in remand yard, because of overcrowding, because of a number of other things, it's just, it is punishment. It is punishment. The person who was a litigant in that matter, Akili Charles, spent, I think, 9 years. It was 9 years awaiting trial, and it did not even he didn't even get past the stage of the preliminary inquiry because the evidence was so poor. So he didn't even reach the High Court. At the stage of the magistrate assessing the evidence, she said, no, she dismissed the matter and sent it home. But what do you say to someone after 9 years of sleeping in a 8 by 10 cell with 10 other people on a floor? You miss out on life. You miss out. You lose your family. You've spent all this time in jail. When you come out, could you imagine you applying for a job, whatever it is, and somebody say, well, what's your previous job experience? And you are now 29 years old, and you cannot account for what you did between 20 and 29, except to say, well, I was in jail. What are your job opportunities at that point in time? What are you, what does life have in store for you? And at the end of the day, the man wasn't convicted of anything. So every case must turn on its facts. Let me give you another example. It's an example that the Law Association used in their submissions, where they supported the fact that the magistrate or judge should weigh the factors. If a neighbor comes, if a man comes home and finds the neighbor in his house sexually assaulting his daughter, or he finds out later on that the neighbor has sexually assaulted his daughter, he doesn't react right away. He thinks about it, he finds out certain things afterwards, he continues talking to the daughter, he starts to speak to his family and all that, and then he just sits down and he thinks about it a little bit, and then he decides, you know what, this man is going to do this to somebody else one day. My daughter took off the light, sorry. And he decides he's going to kill this person, right? Mm-hmm. And he kills the person because he's enraged, because he feels that this person is just a threat to society or whatever. So he kind of embarks upon some kind of vigilante justice. But this is a person who has always been an upstanding citizen. He has never had so much as a traffic ticket in his life. He's done everything according to the law, but he's enraged and so on. Is he a threat to society? And does he have a case where he could plead before a judge or a jury? Provocation, that he had some sort of a mental break because of what his daughter went through, things like that. Do you want to keep that person in remand yard for 10 years waiting on a trial? Or would you permit them to still continue their life, work, be around their family? And yes, they will face trial one day. You can put all the conditions in place. You can take away their passport, make sure they can't leave the country, ask them to report to the police station, whatever. But do you want to punish that person by taking 10 years out of their life, putting them into remand yard to wait for trial, when ultimately, do you think a jury in this country will convict that person who kills the man that he found raping his daughter, his teenage daughter, or something like that? I think it's highly unlikely. Is it murder? Perhaps it legally it drives his standards, but does he have a good defense? That is something a jury will have to decide. If you feel that he has a defense that might be hold weight with a jury and all that, why keep the man in prison for all those years? Isn't it better that someone who had such an extreme case of provocation that they reacted in that way, that you keep them out of the prison, get them into some serious therapy, counseling, things like that. Let them be. Those are things that you have in. It's a way of having a progressive society, and it's the way we think about things as a progressive society. When the Pandey administration was in office, Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj introduced a bill, a law, to categorize murder into first degree, second degree, and third degree murder. That law has not been implemented because subsequently, when the Kamala Prasad administration came into office, they were going to there was a partner piece of legislation they needed to do as well, which they wanted to get around what we know as the Pratt and Morgan decision, so you could implement the death penalty. A lot of people in Trinidad, I have my personal views on it, I think everyone does, but a lot of people feel that implementing the death penalty is a good thing. But again, do you want to implement the death penalty in cases of, let's just say that situation I gave you of a man killing the rapist? Do you want that person, if convicted of murder, to face the death penalty, or do you want the death penalty really for the more, the really terrible murders that are done, like hitmen killing people for drug deals going bad and that kind of thing, right? And under Kamala, that was brought to the parliament, but it needed a 3/4 majority, which is the majority they didn't have, and the PNM didn't support it. So legislation to fix the criminal justice system, in my view, is not legislation to say no bail for this, no bail for that, no bail for the other. Because just taking people, and I said it this week, I said you're fighting to keep people in jail with no bail when they're accused of crime, but you're not spending money to fix the prison to actually keep convicted people in the prison. You're allowing them to move galvanized and walk out. It makes no sense. Spending money on things like that, what you need to spend money on is, systems to address, as I said, the beginning, middle, and the end of crime. And you need to take the legislative steps that will really reform the criminal justice system, not just restrict bail. Because really, I don't know what has been accomplished by the restrictions on bail so far.
We have seen all this money spent in every budget, millions and millions of dollars for national security, the justice system, and we don't see where the money's going. We don't see where the money's going. We don't see any improvement. And what would it really take to change things, how it's operated now that you have a person 10 years, 20 years in the jail? What is it really going to take to change that system?
Hold on for you, baby. Hold on. You need people who understand, I think, firstly, the criminal justice system. You need the political will, and you need to focus on, like I said, these aren't quick fixes. These are things that will take some time to materialize and to get off the ground. You will see what I'm talking about here, the things that I'm talking about, programs and so on. It takes years to set these things up and to see the results, but it would be money well spent in the long term. These are things they are tried and tested and proven in first world countries which have consistently ranked as the best places to live in the world, countries in Europe like Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and so on. I think that you have to move away from quick fixes and propaganda and say, listen, this is a long term, this is a 10-year, 15-year plan to reform the system. Criminal justice reform is a sexy type of phrase that people throw around every time they buy 2 police cars. Or I saw last week, instead of buying fire tenders, I think they buy Jeep for the fire officers, the vans or something like that, for them to be driving up and on the PBR. And I don't know if they're out in fire or what they're doing with that. But at the end of the day, these are things that are, they are just, we have to, nothing that you are going to do in terms of real criminal justice reform is good public relations, because no citizen at the end of the day is going to praise the government and clap and feel happy when they see more programs being implemented in the prison system to allow at least, inmates to get up to CXC subjects or something like that. That's not good politics and it's not good PR for our government. But like I said, it's a long-term thing. And I think that the population has to be educated. I get so much of cost, and there's no way else to put it, costs about this bail matter. Because in the mind of the average citizen, they believe that if someone is accused of a crime by the police and charged, then the place for them is in prison and nowhere else. And that gives a sense of security to the citizen. And so it's not good public relations to say that I believe as a politician or whatever that that's not the answer, etc. And of course, it's good politics for the government to fight you down on it. So they intend to fight this matter all the way to the Privy Council. Millions of dollars will be spent in legal fees. And I'm not saying that on my own. The Prime Minister said that in his Tuesday night meltdown about he said every time you take a matter to the Privy Council, there's $1 million in spending. So they will spend $1 million to fight those things, but they will not spend $1 million to make sure that they hire counselors,
the preventative things necessary in the community.
Yes, student aids. I have I know someone who's in the OJT program, for example, in Ministry of Education, to be trained as a student aid. And when COVID came into effect, they just let them go, and they didn't rehire them. So for the last 2 years, children who required the assistance of a student aid in order to function in schools, they have been home. You hope that the parents can help them with the online class and so on, but whether they are getting any help or they're not getting any help, nobody knows. What is happening? What's going to happen to those children? Are they eventually going to fall into a life that's just not, the best life that they could have had? Will they eventually end up in a juvenile facility where we don't have enough people to give them counseling to help them work through their issues? I used to do something called a duty counsel with legal aid, where if a minor was arrested, for example, or someone was charged with murder, legal aid would just call you out and ask you to go to the station, interview them, make sure that they are, being well treated and so on, and then you could decide. You could be present if the officer wanted to interview them or put them on an ID parade or something, right? So it would be basically a lot of times you see someone in the afternoon, maybe the following morning, and so on until the police decide to charge them. And I used to spend a lot of time just talking to the minors in particular, and it was just, I've never come across a case where a minor was charged with an offense and that child was just a bad child. But all of them had just, it was, a father had died and the father family put out the mother, and then the mother pick up some next man and the mother is saying, and, family life breaking down, nobody caring about them, feeling, having a rough time in school, no teacher trying to care, nobody trying to, I'm sorry if you hear my daughter singing in the background. Nobody
so they're
caring
just lashing
about
out.
them.
They're lashing out.
Yeah, I mean, just nobody really trying to give them to just reach out a hand to them. But the gang leader and the community, the man running the drug block in the area, he's reaching out. So those people reach out to those children
Buy them something to eat.
faster.
And
Yeah, faster than the schools, than the churches, than the than anybody else. We love to praise good children and we promote them and we love to be around them and we want them in. I see it for myself. We go to Sunday school sometimes and it's the ones who people think are bright and they this and they answer all the questions and they are whatever it is. And then you have the one child who cannot sit still, who might be fussy, who don't like to do things, who might be talkative, who might be, and everybody look at the child as though, oh God, what's wrong with the child? You talk about 5 and 6 year old children, but from that age, people tend to judge, they ostracize, they push these children to the fringes, and what happens? Somebody is there willing to take their hand and lead them astray. So if we as a society don't come together, and if we as a and at the end of the day, you can't fix everything and you can't go into everybody's home and fix the situation, but you could create safe spaces and avenues through which they could do those things. Guidance counselors in schools is it's a fundamental and very important thing, and I don't know that you have enough of them. Up to just pre-COVID, I knew someone who was a guidance counselor, and she was a guidance counselor for like 3 or 4 huge, I'm talking like big high schools here in San Fernando. I know her from church, and she was telling me that that's what she was doing. She was assigned to like 3 big schools, and I was thinking to myself, well, there's no way that she could possibly give the kind of time and attention needed to all the children in those schools. So again, I would prefer to see resources put into those things than to fight in legal matters all the way up to the Privy Council to say that people shouldn't get bail. Put something in place that if people who really don't deserve bail, that you could be able to at least keep them in the prison, but have better conditions in the prison. You know what I mean? Have programs, have just generally better facilities. Listen, in this day and age, do you know there's a slop bail? In Romania, they're still using a slop bail. A slop bail is a nasty bucket in the corner of a 10 by 10 cell with 10 people sleeping and 10 of them using it as a toilet, and somebody has to get up in the morning and empty it. Those are inhumane conditions. They're just pure and simple inhumane conditions in the prison that people who are presumed innocent in the eyes of the law are forced to
under those conditions.
To stay under those conditions. And what do you expect from somebody who lived like that for 10 years and then released and say, oh, okay, you're innocent. You're free to go pick up your plastic bag with your belongings and leave the prison, and you walk out of the prison a free man. Are you free? Are you mentally and psychologically free from living like that after all those years? I mean, what's going to happen, So that's where it is. So all of the money, as you come back to the question, money being spent in national security, I think it needs to be diverted into better resources. Yes, police cars and stuff like that is necessary to respond to crime, but it's also necessary to, for example, to have more CCTV cameras, to have a proper functional DNA lab, to have better means of detection of crime. We are still a very much when it comes to detection and conviction, we have extremely low rates, and the reason for that is because we are still dependent on eyewitness evidence to a large extent. And in order for us to improve our detection rate and to improve our conviction rate, we need to move to more scientific methods of detection, and that's like DNA, CCTV, all of that. In most of the cases right now where you have CCTV footage proving that someone is involved in a crime, it's because of private footage recorded at homes and whatnot. If you could have what they call the Big Brother system, like what you have in the United Kingdom and London, in a big metropolitan city like London, I see no reason why we can't have those things roll out in at least in the major towns and cities in Trinidad. I think that ought to be prioritized, seriously prioritized.
But I think the church, I think the church's religious organization fell down on the job because basically if they were more engaged, they probably could prevent some of these children from going astray in the direction that they do. It's so much of so many churches have so much of prestige and who better than who, and those kind of.
So
So, Ms. Lutchmedial, before you go, I want to just hold that thought for a quick bit, right? We're going to come back and talk about the church, after we take this short, station identification as well. There's somebody have a question for you, which I think the person already knows the answer with respect to the Prime Minister behavior in Parliament last Friday. So stick and stay, don't go nowhere. It's in the village of the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We have with us tonight, Senator Jayanti Lutchmedial, and she has joined us tonight and has joined us previously. So we welcome her back to In the Village of the DAG Triplets at WZYE 95.9 FM. Stick and stay, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's In the Village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We have with us in the village tonight Senator Jayanti Lutchmedial, and she has joined us on a person who was involved with that historic bail case recently in Trinidad and Tobago. So, Ms. Lutchmedial, go ahead with the answer with respect to Gary's question/statement on the church and so on.
Yeah, I remember growing up in a time where church was such a fundamental part of life, and I think that people themselves have moved away for whatever reason, moved away from that sort of making that a central feature of life. But I also, as somebody had mentioned about reading a quote, I read a quote one time that says that extending one hand to someone is much better than clapping two hands together to pray. I think that the focus of religion has become on piety and being too, of course it's good to live by example and to set the right example and to teach people what the religious books say and all of that. But you have to also practice it and show how it is practiced. I'm a Christian, so I could relate to Christianity, and I could tell you that, making people memorize Psalms and the Lord's Prayer and all of that and know every Bible story is great, but not teaching and setting an example and enforcing a lifestyle especially with children, where they practice things like kindness, like charity, like giving, like being understanding, having faith and things like that. The importance of humility. If people in the church, for example, instead of just focusing on regurgitating Bible stories, enforced, for example, humility and teaching children how to be humble and how to be accepting of others, you would have less bullying in schools. But are we really applying the religious concepts to the followers, especially the young children? I want to, I've in our more rural communities, I interact with a lot of people who are a little bit younger than me, and even people my age, who grew up very, very, very involved in religious organizations and more based in Hinduism and learning the traditions and so on. And you see the difference. You see the difference in people who live a life that's centered on religion and culture, as opposed to people who don't. And I firmly believe that the church, the church, the mosque, the temple, whatever it is, you really do make a significant difference in the lives of how children end up behaving, how they perform in school, what type of adults they end up becoming, the types of lives that they will live, if it is that you really teach, not teach religion as a form, but you teach the substance of religion if you enforce the lessons involved in those things. So yeah, I really do wish that we've had less focus on who better than who and who dress nicer and who have a nicer car and who the pastor like the most and whatever, and we really focus more on the teachings of because every religion has I've been exposed to almost every major religion, and I think every religion has very fundamental concepts that would, if explained properly and taught well to children, could really make a difference in the lives of children.
So here's the question, right? Someone said, Miss Lutchmedial, how would you consider the behavior of Dr. Keith Christopher in a parliament on Friday last?
Well, of course, it's disgraceful to see any prime minister behaving that way. It's a follow-up from what I call the Tuesday night meltdown, because if you heard him as well on that platform on Tuesday night in San Fernando, he was mocking, for example, the way Senator Wade Mark speaks. No one should be mocked. And we just having a conversation just now about children being bullies and so on. What does it say when the prime minister behaves that way and mocks the way someone talks? What kind of example are you setting for the children who are going back to school? When you see school, have you seen the number of videos that have surfaced of school children fighting since school reopened?
Yeah, correct.
How do you as a prime minister say that you have a problem with violence and children behaving badly and so on when you behave worse than them? And your behavior is just like them. Look, Rowley is not fit for public office. I've said that many times. I don't even know if he's fit to live among civilized people because of his behavior. But what I have seen as a trend and a tendency is that when he's caught in a situation where he cannot answer, he lashes out. Rowley might have been one of those people who probably could have benefited from some kind of psychological intervention growing up, because he has anger management issues. Do you see the number of times he says, "I am the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago"? It's almost like he's trying to convince himself more than anybody else. He feels the need to assert this authoritative type of mannerism and make these statements as though I in charge, don't question me. It's narcissistic in a way, how he behaves. Anybody who questions him, if you look up, for example, on any, just do a Wikipedia search, what are the characteristics of a narcissist? Rowley really fits the bill, He has a lot of those traits and tendencies, and you see it manifesting itself in his behavior inside and outside of the parliament. He does not like to accept responsibility for anything. So he will come and bray, I am the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. We know that. But because of that is why you have to show a certain amount of, or you have to take on some responsibility for things happening in this country. When asked about cases of gender-based violence and things, you can't just say, well, it's for you to choose your man wisely. You have to accept responsibility as a government and say, what are you doing to address the issue of, toxic masculinity and boys growing up with this set feeling of that they are entitled to somehow control women and abuse them and stuff. That's what we want to hear from you. We want to hear about policies and plans. We don't want to hear about, just lashing out. And that's what the man does. He just lashes out at everybody when he doesn't like a question or doesn't like a comment from them. Wade Mark questioned, what if Reginald Armour, how did he become a citizen of Dominica? Because it was stated somewhere that he is a citizen of Dominica as well as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. The law is that if you acquire citizenship in another country and pledge allegiance to them, then you can't hold public or be a senator in Trinidad and Tobago, and they were going to appoint him as senator. So it's only natural for Wade Mark to ask, well, how? And then he clarified, well, he was born there. He didn't acquire the citizenship there. In fact, what he acquired was Trinidadian citizenship. All right. So we get that on whatever. But so because somebody asks a question, you have to mock them and you have to behave that way. He's a typical schoolyard bully. I would like to talk to somebody who went to school with him and find out what type of person he was in school, because the way he behaves now, if that's how he always was, I can imagine that he might have been quite the bully in school, because he's still exhibiting that type of behavior today.
So here's the next question, Ms. Jayanti. What's your thoughts on having a community police officer at all schools because of the bullying and physical crimes at schools?
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be a really, that's actually a nice suggestion. I don't know if we have enough officers assigned to community policing, but certainly schools that are high risk and prone to, for example, not just bullying, but also located in areas where you have gangs operating, where you have areas known, for example, for uh, the drug blocks and so on being in close proximity. I think it would certainly help. But community policing is different from regular policing. You have to build trust, and with children, you have to build trust. Listen, I've learned so much about children through my career and also having one of my own. But if children don't trust you, if they don't feel that they could turn to you, if they feel that what they are going to face is punishment when they reach out to you, um, it's not going to make a difference. So community policing really has to become more about not necessarily befriending, but really establishing a good rapport with the children, giving them a safe place to come to, whether it is to ask for help or um, to pull them back from, if you see them going astray, you have to develop that rapport and trust. So if we could, and I think, that is where community policing is meant to be and meant to go. But I think that taking regular police officers and putting them in a community policing unit and just putting them in a school is not the answer. Community policing has to be, people really trained in, like I say, psychology, guide, to be like proper counselors. That's what you're doing. You're not a overpaid security guard. You're meant to be, uh, um, like I say, a source of support to the students who are there if you go into that. But I think there is merit in the suggestion, if not for all schools, at least the high risk ones.
It has to be a joint program between Ministry of Education and
National security.
and national security, because there has to be is a different structure of things has to be done and the training.
And from the time you say anything with joint program, it's like I don't know. In this country, we are still operating in silos. I asked a question. What had happened? Oh, the prison officer was gunned down in Faizabad with his little daughter. You remember that video, that heartbreaking video where, child was seen running and all that, right? I asked the question in Parliament about whether we have child trauma counselors, and the Minister of Social Development said that is fall under the remit of the Children's Authority. And I'm there waiting waiting for her to say, well, yes, and Children's Authority has this, has that, has it. Another word. So imagine you in social development, you are doing it, you're supposed to be, thing, Children's Authority, you don't know what Children's Authority have or don't have. It's silos. It's always, everything in this country still operates in silos. When you talk about, I raise the issue of assistance to children who have learning disabilities and things like autism and so on. The response that you get as well, Ministry of Education and Social Support Services, but in terms of the art therapy and speech therapy, not well as Ministry of Health. So you want to tell me health and education can come together and develop a proper program to deal with children like that in the school system? And that's why they fall through the cracks. And when they do something that leans on the side of, not criminal, but somewhat, they get into some kind of problem with the law, then it's Ministry of National Security problem. And does Ministry of National Security have access to any type of resources to help these people, like therapists and counseling? No. So it's just, no, any kind of joint effort between agencies in this country tends to be a real problem still. And then it's always, we also have to kind of pass the buck.
But this is where the Prime Minister himself has to come in. It's just like the incident we see with Paria there. There was a lack of combination of various ministries, knowing that they should be working together and collaborating, in getting this done. Hello, young lady, I see you.
To sleep.
But this is where we need the leadership to come into play. And,
of course, of course.
And we would like to see if you guys could raise this more in within the Parliament, with government, to really beat the iron on these things here, because this is really the real groundwork that has to be done.
Yeah, and it's just a long term. Like I had I'm sure you all have heard of Marsha Walker. She has a little radio show as well going on. She does a Friday night radio show, and we were talking about, for example, the benefits to children and the long term benefits to the economy when, for example, you have social support for particularly single mothers that would allow them to stay home with babies and so on for a longer period of time, to be able to breastfeed and things like that. Now, most people think, grants and so on are a waste of time. It's like you're rewarding people for having children, whatever. But do you know what's the long-term health benefits to, children being physical and psychological and mental health and all of those things? The children who are allowed to stay with their moms as opposed to being 3 months old and being forced to go into daycare or being left in the care of a stranger and so on, so that the parents can work. And they, it's not something that you're going to see an immediate benefit, but 20 years from now, you will have these children, or 10 years and so on, you have children who are healthier, physically healthier, so it takes a strain of the healthcare system when children don't get sick as much because they are allowed to breastfeed. And there are studies around the world about the benefits of these things, but you don't get votes for talking about things like that.
Saying in Trinidad, and they don't understand their own saying about prevention is better than the cure. My mother would say it.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. But like I say, talking about policies like that and things that don't win any votes, it doesn't win a mass amount of votes, and that's why it just it's just something that's neglected. So
Oh, Senator, before you were talking about the criminal justice system and the prison system, recidivism is still a problem, a big problem.
Yes, recidivism still, yeah. Sorry. No. Sorry, could you just repeat the question?
I was saying that recidivism is still a big problem in the system.
Yeah.
Are we really doing what's best to cut down on the amount of recidivism, or do we, or are we encouraging it because the lawyers benefit from it?
Well, I don't know if the lawyers benefit, but I just think that, again, investing money into better conditions for prisoners is not going to win votes, because as far as people are concerned, you commit a crime and you should suffer in inhumane conditions. They want to see criminals suffer. What the population doesn't realize, and what I think is the responsibility of politicians and government officials and so on to educate the public about, is that when you put people into those situations and you don't invest money in their education and skills training and all of that, then you are basically creating a worse criminal that will have to come back out and live amongst you. So it is to your benefit. You, the upstanding taxpaying citizen of the country, will benefit if your taxpayers' dollars are invested in skills training and better prison conditions. It don't make sense right now. I could see the average tax-paying middle-class person saying, but what the hell? I can't get better this pothole fix. I can't get better this. I can't do it for prisoners. But that prisoner is going to be your neighbor one day. So fixing them and improving them as a citizen that has to come back out and reintegrate in society is a way of protecting you. Because when they come out of prison, which they will, and they have to be your neighbor and they have to live in your community, if they come out after living under inhumane conditions for 9 years and they are psychologically scarred and so on and whatever, and they also have no opportunities, they have no skills, they are branded, they are, things like that, what are you going to what you're going to expect? You're going to not expect them to come and commit crime against people just like you. You know what I mean?
They're worse criminal now. They're more dangerous if you mess them up.
Correct. They come out. Let's say we prison instead all around the world. There's a concept that or rehabilitation in prisons, but in Trinidad, people come out of prison worse than they went in, and particularly I think in remand. The remand system is really, really bad. And, I don't know how else to explain it to people that it's necessary to, fix our system.
Well, Miss
Yeah.
Lutchmedial, we want to say thank you so very kindly for taking the time to come and join us. It's really appreciated. I know you always have a busy schedule, not just as a senator, but also at home as well.
Yes, well, I say you hear the entertainment in the background here. So
and we
it's one of
thank
those
you.
things.
Yeah, we thank you so very kindly for joining us. Any closing words before you go?
Just that, the opposition continues to try to ask the hard questions. It may not seem always like we are, people have expectations that the opposition must do something and do things about what the government is doing when they're unhappy and all of that. But things like this, what I'm speaking about here on issues and raising issues and ideas, all that's part of the work of opposition. You are you're putting out there solutions, and you're proposing things that you think could move our society forward. And I wish that more people focused on fixing societal problems as opposed to just making things better for themselves, because you don't exist in a small little bubble. You are part of a wider society. So we have to start seeing societal problems as everybody's responsibility, trying to fix it. I think that the opposition does as best as they can to really question the government on their policies and procedures and their actions. And we have to continue to do so, because you can't just accept that someone is in power and they can do as they please. We must continue to ask the hard questions and put forward solutions, which I think we do very well. So I hope that people continue to fight the good fight and improve the country for all of us.
Miss
very much.
Lutchmedial, thank you
And
so
thank you
very
again for
kindly.
having me so much.
Okay, take
Again, I
care.
apologize for the background
Thank
noise.
you.
Take
No,
care.
that's
Bye-bye.
okay.
No
Thank you
need.
so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.
Good night.
So there you have it, folks. Senator Jayanti Lutchmedial joining us here in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. And as usual, sharing a lot of information, to the people in the chat. Let me just read some quick comments here from in the chat. Vonnie Roberts says, Wall Street, why not sell some raffle tickets like the PNM and get Heinz to help? He will sell 1,000 tickets, first price and Mercedes. All right. Ambrose Blank. Ambrose, welcome. Ambrose said, Gary is not as foolish as you are. I guess he's talking about, I don't know who he's talking about. If he's talking about Gary and Tommy or Gary and Diana, and I don't know. Eugene Julian says, Wall Street, first time Gary making sense. Gary, Eugene on your side tonight, boy.
Listen to me. I try to be fair to everybody, right? I'm not here to beat up on the Prime Minister.
But he said first time you're making sense.
Well, he has to tell me what in particular. But anyway, the point I want to bring up here is, see, with all the legislation being drafted in the parliament and all the, the back and forth and this and that and this bill and that bill, if we do not improve the level of performance from the police force with the preventative, how will I say, spinning top in mud?
Yeah.
You go on to complain to the police that your husband beating you and abusing you, and they don't come. Oh no, it's a kind of man thing, and this one happened, and I've heard situation where the husband have friends in the police force and they're not doing anything, and the woman getting abused, and I mean, I'm not kind of a joke abuse, right? So there's a lot of entanglement between the criminal element and the police force, mismanagement of the police force, lack of vision and innovation in the police force. Right, poor response. I mean, before we even get to prison, all the preventative strategies that is necessary to help make our society a safer place is not taking place. They just kind of, if you even say anything, they vex. They want to kill you. Sometimes the police become your worst enemy than the criminal outside there. You're going to make a complaint, you get rough up. You know, so there's a lot has to change with the police force that we are not dealing with, and we're busy fighting this bill and that bill in the parliament. In the meantime, the police force is rotten within itself, and we have a poor system in place. We have a poor Coast Guard that is the system there in place. They're poorly trained, they're ill-equipped. They can't even respond to a underwater emergency. They just could point gun at people. You ask them to do something, they get vexed and they shoot at somebody and kill somebody's child. So, you know, there's a lot has to be done with our forces in the management of it.
You know, but Kapisa said something earlier that rings a bell in my ear. You know, Kapisa said that the senator was talking about the fact that poverty breeds crime, which may be true, but then we have the poor people seeing rich people getting away with a bunch of crimes. What are they to think?
But when you talk about the man killing and robbing and things, they start to talk about white collar crime. But what white collar crime? Right? What about white collar? They're already passing the buck. It's become a racist thing again. It's a back and forth kind of thing. But the thing about it is, okay, so a man commit fraud. Okay, we understand that it's a crime too. But the man who come in your house and rape your mother and your child and kill them in front of your face, which is worse. We understand that is a crime too. But what are we trying to say? You know, but we're not fixing these things. Like I said, I am frustrated with seeing the back and forth in the parliament about this bill. I don't want to pass that bill. They could draft all the law they want and pass it. That is stopping the criminals. Is the police being on patrol? Things there. The police has to be on patrol.
But Gary, government go, government come, government go, and we get the same thing over and over.
And so they're not listening. They have an attitude. You can't tell them what to do.
But that's what I'm saying. Government come, government go. You get change or you get exchange.
All the support from Mrs. B says she get into office, she don't know you. You can't have a word, you can't make a suggestion. They come to a meeting, there's a bunch of dancing and ramping up, and you can't have a good conversation. Right?
But Gary, Ambrose Blanc says, I think Ambrose had to be a PNM, and we allow all people on this program, whether it's a PNM, whether it's a UNC, whether it's a DLP.
No, well, you can't accuse a person of being any party. I mean, you know.
No, but Gary, sending a message. We allow all people. Ambrose, you know what Ambrose says? Can you imagine, you of all persons can conclude that the COVID management was a fiasco? Let me repeat that for you, Ambrose. The COVID management under the current government of Trinidad and Tobago was a fiasco, a disaster. A disaster. And think about it. They lock out people for all the years. 20 years. Anything above 1 is plenty. Right? And look what happened in the country. And then, not only that, but the last thing they do is put cow pens in the savannah for people to come and dingole, and people run out of the cow pen and them and do like what Trinidadians normally will do. And you come in to tell me, I have one person saying that it was a disaster, a fiasco. I was very kind that it was a fiasco. I should have said it was a tsunami. I should have said that. Right? Because look how much places open up already. Look how much parts of the world open up already. And we used to say we following the science. All right. What's the science now we're following? Tell me now, Gary, tell me, what's this science now Trinidad and Tobago following? Which science?
I'm still trying to find out who the scientist is.
Which science? So they're following the science no more? Look, Ambrose, look. But Ambrose, I know it is done. I know it is. You had to defend. Hey, you had to defend. Honestly, the Soca Warriors? The Soca Warriors give Barbados a handful and what is this, boy? And 4/5. 9-0, boy. Soca Warriors, boy. 9-0. You get Barbados. The Soca Warriors back in full flight, boy. And not only that, they have a local coach too. born and bred in Trinidad and Tobago. We ain't going outside. We digressing here a little bit. We ain't going outside to bring somebody else, a fair-skinned fella, who don't understand we culture, don't understand them fellas and them. You know them fellas that are going to line, you know what I mean? That are going to take a little drink, and they don't understand them, right? The new coach understand them local fellas and them is a part of the culture. You have to understand the culture. But listen, look, let me go up the island. The coach of Barbados is a Trinidadian, you know, Russell Atapi. The coach of Guyana is a Trinidadian, you know, Jamal Shabazz. And then we have other Trinidadian coaches all up the island. We exporting coaches now all up the island. And I want to go and bring, like I want to bring Iwatsky and what's it called, Gibbs and Iwatsky back in the country. Them leaving, them left a place where they was managing like 300 police to come to our country where they had to manage close to over 6,000 police. It's like going from a parlor and all of a sudden you're going in a grocery. Oh, come on, man. Make it make sense now. But congratulations to the Soca Warriors. 9-0, boy. To talk about COVID and Bacchanal, about Charles at dinner with a woman and Vex Rowley. Now here Ambrose Blanket, Tommy and Gary, you know, I just figured them out easier. Hear what he says. Only 6 viewers, your guess and me. But Ambrose, I like all you know. Thank you so very kindly, Ambrose, for making yourself one of the 6 viewers. So there has to be a reason why you come into the village to be one of the 6 viewers. And we appreciate you coming in, right, to be one of the 6 viewers. Thank you very kindly, man. We want to say thank you so much for that compliment. You always compliment. I like when you all compliment WZYE 95.9 FM because we are trailblazers. We originate here, we don't imitate. Sean Bernard, I think someone talked to Keith. That's why he was on his good behavior. Just saying. I hear you. Albert Montano says, Keith Rowley cannot change. He has no respect. Albert again says, Keith Rowley cannot fool me. He will never change. Now he could change. Albert, he could change. I really feel he could change. But he had to show people that he's willing to change. Right? And he hasn't shown that yet. One press conference. I hear him at a press conference where he was very, very, very.
Yeah, but I'm not interested in changing Dr. Rowley's behavior or anything. You know. I am interested in changing his decision making, how he went about things.
But you don't change the decision making, you don't change the behavior.
No, we could force them to. We did a lot of things to force them to change their decision, right? Which reference to locking out people and things like that. In this stage and game, you can't change. Only God could like how God did to Saul and cast the spirit on him and capsize him and think that's the only thing could really take place there and transform him. So it will take a miracle. So I'm not trying to change Kamala or change Dr. Rowley. We should focus on the decision they're making, how it affects the country. He's not going to change. Nobody's going to change him.
And Gary, I agree with you. You cannot change anybody. You can't change people. Seriously. The only change you could change is to change yourself. You really cannot change anybody. And I'm telling you, I don't want Dr. Rowley to change. He is what he is. And he already told people, Gary, he told people, what you see is what you get. He said, at this point in time, he ain't changing. He said that. Jesse Babulal, welcome and good night. Gary Takisha says, I answer give Gary some Balize juice to drink tonight. Takisha, I didn't give Gary no Balize juice. Gary drink that on your own. No longer Gary that sitting on the refrigerator.
Gary drinking pot and not Balize juice. Anyway, so what I'm saying to you is I'm not focusing on changing anybody. I am focusing on getting them to do the right things for the country. Because trying to change Dr. Rowley and say, well, the man changed or he improved any behavior. Tomorrow come and something will get him upset and he lash out and he cuss out anybody. I mean, what can we do about that? We have to focus on getting the things that is necessary, that is affecting the lives of our people, he could go and sing and dance after that. I really don't care. But the thing about it is, I saw some improvement in the decision. This is what I'm talking about. I wasn't referring to anything else. I mean, he didn't act as arrogant like the other day. He kind of calmed down a little bit. So
Gary, I've told you guys, Dr. Rowley is an astute politician. I've told you guys that over and over.
I ain't saying the man change, I am just saying the government changed the decisions and certain things that I give them credit for.
So Albert Montano says,
responding him for anything at all. I don't expect him to change.
Albert Montano says Trinidadians could be fooled every day. Joan says Gary need a stag. Gary does drink?
Gary does only drink punching. Anyway, like I said, the improvement is what I'm giving credit to.
Joan, will you drink a stag, guy? God, Joan only easy, Jesse Babulal says, the PM has no behavior and has set a very bad example for the young generation. I agree with that. As the Prime Minister, you have to set I call it SAGE, S-A-G-E. You have to set a good example. You are the listen, Dr. Rowley is the most, how am I put it, boy? He's the biggest leader, the largest leader in Trinidad and Tobago. Large. Nobody has the powers that Dr. Rowley has. Dr. Rowley has a tremendous amount of powers in Trinidad and Tobago. Tremendous amount of powers. Right? And I believe that's part of the problem. When you have to tell people like the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Senator Lutchmedial is right. If you have to tell people what you are, that you are the Prime Minister, especially if you're the Prime Minister, everybody. I saw a baby just born, no Dr. Rowley is the Prime Minister. You have to tell people that. Vonnie Roberts says, I gave Wall Street a good idea for him to ask Hans to assist him on organizing a raffle with Hans selling over 1,000 tickets. Let me know how he did for the P&M building. I've asked him. Well, I don't know if I've asked him now, but Albert Montano says, P&M lost the local election in 1983 and lost 33 seats in 1986. Only Lavantil voted for P&M and San Fernando East. Jesse Babylon asks, title and artist. I think, Jesse, you're talking about the song. The song name is, the song is by Ember, M-B-A, Ember, M-B-A. And the title of the song is 36. 36. AKA PhD. So the song that we played with Ember and talking about Parliament and donkeys, the name of the song is Ember sang at MBA, and it's 36. 36. That's the mark. Yeah. Donkey's the mark. Okay, all right. Yeah, I wasn't too up on the numbers thing, right? Yeah, so that is it, Jesse. Albert, oh God, Gary, them fellas tough on you, boy. He said Gary's a flag blowing with the wind. Oh God. Tikisha said, so Gary, after 7 years, Rowley now getting it right? Vonnie Roberts says, and Sam, could you organize?
I am just talking about today, in that I am congratulating them on changing the decision on how they operating.
Yeah, but Gary, 2 days ago, the man was a raging bull, man.
But I didn't say the man change. I'm not saying this this is not about he. I'm just talking about the decision they made today. I'm happy to see the improvement, that they changed their attitude a little bit.
But that why didn't just open up the country, man? What's the big deal? What is the big deal? Open the country. It's games, man. It's games. That's games, Gary. You might have to come up them games. You only playing with people, man. Why? People couldn't play sports in the country just about a month ago. And we was playing sports in this country for almost a year now.
Boy,
and we had more COVID-19 than
he will solve everything.
But we was playing sports months ago. I went to Florida last year. I do a video from Florida. Months. We had another Big East championship in Wisconsin or over that place we went. Months. and you come in and you still pussyfooting and saying that, you know, you want to do this and you want to do that. It's games. Too much games. You're playing with people, man. Open back up the country. We go come. Open it up. Let people go and be merry. Look how much country open back up. No, Gary, why don't you follow that now? And follow all the countries that them need to follow who open back up. Australia. Why don't you follow Australia now?
Slowly. They're following slowly.
Follow United Kingdom too now. They should give you all them science. Well, Australia doing this, and the United Kingdom doing this, and this one doing this, and this one doing that. All them people opening up. And you still they pulling strings, having people like puppet and pulling them like puppet. And listen, they like that, you know. Especially if you're part of the go along, get along PNM gang. Right? We still agree with you, though, Gary. He says he didn't jackass the press conference today. Gary, correct. But he also
yeah, he didn't jackass it today. I was surprised.
Gary, we want to see more of that. We want to get a big sample. We don't want one press conference as a sample.
I am not trying to change the man. I don't expect the man to change.
No, I don't want him to change. You're right. We cannot change him. But he can do things what's best for the country.
I give him credit for how he did it today. So maybe he should pay attention to that. Maybe.
Gary. Anyhow, Ray Stelt says politicians are good actors. Full 100. Ray Stelt also says, not really handsome. When I order a chocolate cake, I don't need to bust the icing to recolor the cake. But Ray Stelt, if you go in, when I go in a place, sometimes I just order a cake. Hey, give me that cake there. You don't know what the cake is? If you don't tell them what you want, they just take, give me that one day. Eh? Oh God, look, Eugene Janet going after poor Diana. Diana going, Eugene. Eugene Janet going after Diana again, boy. Oh God, I think Eugene, my partner Eugene has something with Diana, you know. I feel so. He says, Diana, if you didn't listen to the press conference, you should have no comment. Oh God! What? Let me repeat that, boy. Diana, if you're listening, Eugene Julian going after you again, I feel Eugene has something with Diana, you know. I just feel so. He says, Diana, if you didn't listen to the press conference, you should have no comment. Lord have mercy. Boy. Vonnie Roberts today said, today Heavy and TC had a good program. Yeah, them fellas are them balanced too bad, boy. You know, on Trinidad, boy, when you're on radio, you're not supposed to be balanced, you know. You can't be balanced. You can't be doing no gymnastics, you know. You can't be going to the Waffle House, you know, for breakfast, you know.
Aslam, I remembered you posed a question to me about campaign finance in the U.S. law, which is on the U.S. Gov site.
Right. Cyril Ramadan had that question. Cyril Ramadan, I remember him. Yeah. I'm a UNC friend.
Yeah, because the truth be told, it's illegal for you to contribute as a foreigner. It's illegal for you to contribute funds to a U.S. campaign and vice versa.
It's illegal?
No, it's against the law.
So I can't contribute to PMM in Trinidad?
People been doing that for
yeah.
so long.
Yeah. People been doing it, but they've been breaking the law, or at least they have to do it on the DL.
So supporting Israel and donating all that money to Israel, the military fund, and all these various countries from citizens from that country is not illegal too, and they're doing it?
That's another thing. We're talking about election and campaign.
But I took out, I registered my business as an election campaign funding organization for Trinidad and Tobago. That was no secret. That was registered in the state of New Jersey.
Gary, you mean for UNC? Don't try to cover it up, man.
Gary, you wouldn't want to really be talking about that too much, you know, because if you do your research and check and see what the law is.
But I registered with the state of New Jersey, telling them what I was doing. Me didn't hide no secret on that. I wasn't, and they never tell me that about no law. I can't do that.
You have to check.
Go ahead, Tommy.
You have to check because I mean I was advised on that before, but you can check. You can check.
But if you want to send money to your party, right? You just send money. You don't have to tell nobody where you're sending money for.
Them ain't supposed to take it, and if it's illegal, you're supposed to send it back.
But there's not
If it's
nobody can
against the
stop you
law,
from donating
and I
to
send
your
money
party.
to you from America, Tommy. Yeah, Tommy, I know people who collect money and carry on money cash and give to the party in Trinidad and Tobago.
Cash that happen on both sides.
I know that for a fact.
People could do that, but
I mean, not talking about just $10,000. We're talking more than that.
Plenty money.
People could do what they do, but they have to know that if they're called up on it, what's legal and what's illegal.
I don't know, but I see highly ever comment here. Diana hit him with a big stone in that ball head. I don't know if he's talking about, boy. Because I have a ball head, you know. I ain't ball, I have a ball head. Takesha says, Anselm, and making fun of all people that's talk to.
Yeah, that's sad.
Kapisa says, Anselm, if a UNC Indo call a black man a chimp, oh Lord, is now they rioting. John Jadida says, Wall Street, that's your building not getting fixed, you short man. Hey, go, they're attacking Diana now, she gone, boy. Ronnie said, Diana, it's best you go Barbados, I will go with you. Oh, you want to go with the yes? Oh, God. Fish stick say, oh, God. Barbados the one, Diana, all that old talk. Lord of his mercy. Once that attack on Diana, she gone. Diana, was she being difficult? It's best to stay away from TNT. Oh, God, another attack on Diana. Please, Lord of his mercy. All only attacking the poor young lady because she gone.
I know lots of people who decided to go back home and regret it because of the level of services there. Not that they're not happy of being home, but at the level of services, especially with the healthcare system.
You know, I tell you something, yeah. We have to start to think about. But Gary, I have a video to play for you where Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bissessa said about you have to more look at country. I look at party rather than country. Did you see that video, Gary? And Tommy?
Oh no.
I go get that video just now. Oh God, look at them people in the chat go be vexed now, boy. Look, Rowley from Canada come by. The original RMC just touched down. Oh God. Hey, look who come back too, boy. Mad Dog, boy. Mad Dog back too, boy. Mad Dog where was, boy, like you bring back, Mad Dog bring back Rowley from Toronto. He bring back Ray Stealth. Oh, look, hey, look, Diana friend come back too. She fake friend, Richard Ramoop. Richard, welcome back, boy. What? Look, all of them come back, boy. Fatima College have their own security guard. I do remember Tranquil having no security guard. Alba Montano. Tommy, your school had security guard?
Not in my time.
No. You didn't use none. If you had none, you don't remember the top.
No, I don't remember no security guard.
Me, I don't Tranquil remember no security guard either. What? St. Joseph College in St. Joseph had their own security guard too. Boy, all them prestige school have security guard, boy. Gary, your school had any security guard? You know, Rowley, you come back, you have a good question there, you know. Since the taste of carnival, COVID disappeared too. Well, the numbers are low, but we should be glad about that, though. We should be glad about that. We should really be glad about that, right? I say, Ray Stealth, I don't know about this, sir. Ray Stealth say our system is breeding criminals. I don't know, have I? Gary, you agree with that? Tommy, you agree with that? I don't think so. Because if a small percentage of the population is criminals, The population are breeding criminals. Murdoch say look on the bright side. COVID may have limited the amount of HIV infection and other diseases, you know. All right. Yeah, we still say yeah, we understand that. Yeah, boy. All right. So Murdoch says Jayanti is an inspiration. Yes, perfect balancing of personal skills and working towards bringing a bright future in our country. Yeah.
So what about Jayanti being a future prime minister? Anybody supporting that?
I think she's a very even keel young lady. I'm gonna put it that way. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, real cool.
Yeah, very even keel young lady. Very even keel young lady. Very much so.
Level, very level.
Look. Murdoch just come back in the chat, and he want me to tell Miss Jayanti that he loves she.
I think she's a perfect candidate. She's in touch with reality. She has the solutions.
Gary, you go put the woman in trouble, you know. Gary, you go put the woman in trouble, you know.
I don't care if Kamala vex. I love
because Miss Kamala Prasad go hear you talking about that, and she go think Miss Jayanti, Miss Lutchmedial talk to you about that. Don't put the woman in no trouble now, Gary. Come on, man.
Anyway, so I think she's very skillful. She's in
yeah, cover it up. Talk nice about her and say, yeah, you know, I think she's very even keel. You know, she's a very talented young lady. You know,
she's a real person. She's beautiful.
Yeah, all the nice things. Yeah.
Everything. I like everything about her.
You're getting the picture, man. You're getting the picture. Next thing, you know, somebody go and tell Miss Kamala. You see that boy guy, man, there? He had Miss Lutchmedial on the program.
I would like somebody to go tell her that.
Yeah, boy, you tell Ramu, boy. You're back inside, boy. Diana said a long time she ain't got no fig from here. I just wanted to know that. And Diana said, one of her sons, she stopped getting fig. She get a little small thing happen. She get Stormy the Storm. And Stormy the Storm biting up everything in the house.
And the thing about I didn't know much about her. You know, when they put her as a senator, I was like, who's this Jayanti person to give her position? I didn't know.
Hey, look, Cyril Ramada saying Jayanti, our Mia Motley. Oh, God. Cyril Ramada, a nice thing to say, boy. Cyril. But look at this. Eugene Julian, too, boy. He ain't saying nothing bad about Diana. He said, what a wonderful interview. Imagine that. Eugene Julian, boy. No, I have to tell you, the lady is very even keel, wonderful. Eh? Oh boy, look, Rowley say what? It had people back talking Wall Street on the Underground Report there. Or they call it the man program, the Underground Report.
You have to remember that there's only just stones and trees that behind fruit, you know.
Hey, yeah, Rowley, it's true to know. The same people that bad talk Wall Street just come back and you chat. Eh? Listen, I just know. Listen, you see in here, we different, you know. We originate, we do anything. Once you ain't go and tell no lies about us, you're welcome it. And you don't come in the chat and you cuss nobody or you disrespect people. We welcome everybody.
But
we don't block people. Go ahead, Gary.
Look at the quality of person that Jayanti is and the things that she wants to bring about to help the country. People like her, I mean, it's been stifled and obstructed. You know, why we not mobilizing ourselves to support these kind of people, whether it's Jayanti or, you know, anybody in the same context. You know, that's why the country is as it is, because the people who cares and really knows the know-how of doing things.
But Gary, was she in the last UNC government? Was she in the government last?
No, she wasn't.
She knew?
Never know nothing about her. First time I recently knew about her.
Oh yeah. She I don't know a lot about her, but she seems to be a good one.
You know,
I don't know much about her, but nice even key lady. talks about the issues, and she come here and it wasn't a blast in the PNM when they ask a question, she answer the question. I like that kind of thing. I like that kind of debate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
when
but
we debate.
I'm talking about people who have the right intentions to the country, have the solution, wants to do it, and you're obstructing them. I mean, because of what? Party politics?
Yeah. Richard Ramu, what is your question for Gigi, boy? We go get Diana to send it in. Send it away.
Now I'll be bringing back Gigi here for all you.
Boy, I wonder where you go call me next, boy. You think you call me a good name this time? Ah. No. I think this pitbull is the Pompey of radio, you know. What do you know is the Pompey of radio? This pitbull is supposed to be my partner Andy Williams. Yeah, why do you call him this pitbull? But nah, well, very nice at all, you know. Sharon, you're right, you know. Sharon, right. Sharon Bernard said, yes, the police officer have to know how to deal with the citizens. Also, the citizens have to respect the officers. I agree with that, boy. I just see some people in Trinidad, boy, just be disrespecting police officers and police officers disrespecting persons. Gary,
but I look at a recent incident there with the students, and they're ganging up on the police. Right?
And she blocking the police from arresting a man, you know.
I didn't know why they sent up and load of police and lock up all of them one time.
But Gary, tell me, you think we could do that in America?
No way.
We could disrespect a police, like, listener, in this country, you have freedom of speech. Eh? If you think a police trying to stop you illegal, you could cuss him.
True.
And you cannot lock you up because we have freedom of speech in this country.
Yeah,
but very rarely do you see people disrespecting our police. Yeah? Very rarely. Unless the police get out of hand.
You physically make contact with a police officer, you already, that's an assault right there.
But I just see Trinidad and running up the police, all kind of thing, boy. Yeah?
And she's a youngster. I don't think she may be 18 yet. But that's the behavior. There. But the thing about it is why we tolerating it. Why it is that where's the riot police? Why we didn't get a bandload of police and lock them up?
No, but that new name is the name used to be SAUTT, so SORT. Then they changed it to SORT.
Then
they changed it again. What's the new one? I forget the new one called. All it does do is put Band-Aid on the source. That's all it does do. My dog says, I keep on saying crime cannot be stopped, but it can be minimized. Just as errors can occur, but it can be minimized. I agree with that. That makes sense. But we always, anyway. Wait now. But Renee, all government is made up of politicians. Until that change, trouble. But what are governments normally made up of? And they're all made up of politicians. I mean, unless you want business people to become politicians, you know, and then they run the government like if it's a business.
Well, we had a so-called businessman in America here that destroyed that option.
Yeah, well, Gary, he bankrupt a lot of companies, so.
The man was so arrogant. I mean, between he and Dr. Raleigh, I don't know.
Yeah, but he bankrupt a lot of countries. It never fella in Trinidad, me calling no names earlier. They say he's the only man in Trinidad and Tobago to take a big business and make it small. Yeah, that one fella in Trinidad and Tobago. He take a multinational enterprise. Well, I wouldn't say it's a multinational enterprise. I would say it's a national enterprise. That's what I was told. You take a national enterprise, a big national enterprise, and make it small. You know? I don't know about that. What is that? Hailey says, them games meaningless answer. If they could pass England and the USA, then we go talk. What games is that? Oh. You see, look at Hailey and them. You see, we, you know, You have to start beating Barbados and Guyana and Jamaica. You have to start beating them local teams in the Caribbean and then try to expand to the US and them or that and Mexico and them. If you can't beat those teams, how you expect to play against England and play? No, I leave out England. England is superior. How you go play against USA and Mexico and them and them countries and them and Costa Rica and El Salvador, right, and Honduras? Those are the teams we want to beat because those are the teams we have to beat in order to get to the World Cup. So we had to deal with them first. So folks, it's approximately 9:58 p.m. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Let's go for a quick station identification. We'll be right back after this message. Stick and stay, don't go nowhere. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Help! Somebody help me! I'm looking for Jacka. I try to go around the country now. I don't know what to do again. Looking to buy a donkey to sell coconut in town. Can't afford to buy a pickup to tote me nuts around. So I gone up in the country looking for jackass to buy. But everybody I check, they keep on telling me. They say up here do a donkey. Parliament a plenty, up here do a donkey. Parliament a plenty, if you want to see real donkey. Parliament a plenty, if you want to find real donkey. Parliament a plenty, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey with PhD, doctorate, law degree, donkey that dance for sew. Don't know from head to toe, looking for a donkey. You want to find real donkey? Fat donkey, maga donkey, any kind you can get it. Oh, yeah. Down south in Rancho and also Lofino, fight up Mondo Nevo and Brasso Seco. They say it have a old man, he bound to have a few. But when I check the old man, he and all same too. He say up here do a donkey, Parliament a plenty. Up here do a donkey, Parliament a plenty. If you want to see real donkey, Parliament a plenty. If you want to find real donkey, Parliament a plenty. Donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey with weave and rats, even bald head jackass, donkey that straight and gay, donkey that bold and grey, looking for a donkey. You're looking for a donkey. I know shiny donkey. I know what black donkey, grey donkey. What are you telling me about? Oh yeah. Hey yeah. Oh yeah. I wonder if I rain happen. They say that donkey looking like Saddam and some looking like Madam. Long time had plenty donkey all over the country. You coulda buy 2 or 3, easy. But since it have a shortage of jackass, so they say, just wait until election when they come out to pray. Up here do a donkey, Parliament a plenty. Up here do a donkey, Parliament are plenty. If you're looking for a donkey, Parliament are plenty. If you want to see real donkey, Parliament are plenty. Donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day, donkey for sewing day. Donkey in suit and tie, who love the mama guy. Drunk and corrupt donkey, that like to lie plenty. Looking for a donkey. So if you want to find real donkey in right road, oh boy, you have to have national pride. Up in the red house now, they gone back up there. I never go up there before, but I ask people now. Looking for a donkey. You up and down the country. I feel like I go check out my partner Ronnie, you know. The old donkey man, he must know where I could get some. Because they're looking to send me in prison or something, you know.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the village of the DAG Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. Oh God, Tommy, them fellas and them good enough. Oh God, and bye-bye.
That's sweet journey was.
The man said, donkey for sewing day, boy. Oh God. Well, yes. Oh God.
Sweet journey.
Oh God. I don't know what to say what them fellas are, boy. They're real good, boy. Cyril Ramadan says I'm right. Yeah.
Station ID time answer.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
I just did it. Before I play that song.
Alrighty.
Yeah. What? Carice. Oh God, look at Richard Rambo come back with that bang, boy. God, we still only attacking Gary tonight, boy. Like Gary gone. Gary's people could be full with glitter and gold, boy. All you're going after Gary, so. He said the man making some good night jokes today, boy. Carice giving Raystel advice. Raystel, get a fever grass plant and keep it. No, I wonder why she gave him that advice, boy. Gigi, I got a question for you. Which Gigi? Gary Marabi or Gary Griffith? Gary Griffith or Oh, Richard is a secret question. What? I defined it, Maddox said I defined it as sad, so arrogant distress. Okay. Richard Ramroop said, Carice, not telling me to go ahead and asking him the question. Who you want to ask the question, Richard Ramroop? GG's Gary Griffith? Well, when we bring back Gary Griffith, we go ask him the question. You go call all the kind of names, though. Play Valentino the Revolution. Yeah, we go play that for you, Hailey. Oh God, look, even Nadia going after Gary. Gary Mohabir, that is no improvement by Rowley. Gary, even Nadia, boy. Oh God, look, we still. Oh, why only attacking Gary? So Gary know what he's saying. Only no. Only do attack Gary. Only come on, man. Yeah, highly, man. Full 100. Open the country, man. You closing up the country, so. But wait now. You see, Tommy, look at this, right? Vonnie Roberts say Wall Street. What's the latest on Laventer? Like you give them up. Where's Anderson? When I'm talking about Laventer all the time, Vonnie telling me it's time I have to give it up. Now he asks me what's the latest on Laventer, like I give them up.
Oh boy.
I don't understand it. Vonnie, what you want me to do? Tell me
what do you really wants? What he wants?
Vonnie, tell me what you want me to do. You tell me what you want me to do and I'm going to do. When I'm talking, you telling me give it up. Right? When he hearing, he asks me if I give it up. Tommy, help me now. Help me, Tommy.
I don't know. It's just
what to do? Vonnie, what to do? Vonnie, help me.
You gotta flip a coin.
Yeah, I gotta flip a coin. Miss Coover says he's the blackest man in Trinidad and Tobago, Wall Street. But the Prime Minister said that. I didn't disrespect the Prime Minister. That the Prime Minister's own words. I don't know when repeating a man's words is disrespectful. Right? He said that, and I repeat what he stated. Now, the Prime Minister said there are certain people who are imps, pimp, and chimps. Right? He said that. Oh, God. Highly. Rajvi, welcome. Oh, Rajvi, you're putting thing there, but if you say that, but you two might take me off, yes? Rowley says, I heard Wall Street calling the underground report the other day, and the underground report started to cost Wall Street. Oh God, they cost me. They tell me all kind of thing, boy. The wordsmith, Lennox Smith, boy, he say he was, I don't know how a man says Lavantil for Lavantillians, and he say the people of Lavanti, because they only drink punching, and that's why they involved in so much crime. You know, them fellas good enough. And Tommy, I ain't see them have no pushback yet in Laventino. I tell them to push back in 41 constituency as cause the country. If only for country. They still afraid to go up in Laventino. That's what them fellas say, yes?
They're soft.
Yeah. They're not really about country, man. Research I agree with answer 100. What say you agree with, boy? Capiza says, Anselm, you say in America we go run. We in the PNM go run we country we ways. All right. Okay. If all they want to run it all the way. All they want jag. All they want the vice VP of Guyana say. All they want say. Oh, let me play that for you before we go. All right. So listen to this, right? Before we go. Rowley, Ray Stelt, Carice, Rowley, Ray Stelt, Carice, Rowley, Ray Stelt, Carice, Richard Amoop. Okay, let me see. Rowley, Ray Stelt, Richard Amoop, Carice, and we still gotta go back and read the messages because we just save them and then come back and read them. That's what we just do. So we cherish you guys so much. We go back and read your message, Roman. And Sarah Ramada, put closing comments in the chat. So Rowley, Ray Stout, Richard Ramoop, Carice, and Sarah Ramada, please put closing comments in the chat. Sarah Ramada, what's not true? Anselm, I want you to bring back Lima for the whole show. Listen, that young lady was fantabulous. She was very, very good. She was very, 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 very good. Very good. And I think a person like that should be the leader of the PEP. And I just get another. Okay, I want to read something from another person who I just get here. I think she's a PEP too. Her name is Hadassah. And this is Hadassah's quote. Somebody just sent it to me. Hold on, listen. You see, me personally, I don't care what party you're from. If you're making sense for country, I about that. I don't care what party you're from. Me personally, I'm talking personally now. I don't care. Like that young lady named Lima on this program here the other night, that young lady was making a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Right? And I believe that young lady, if she's political leader of the PEP will attract a lot more people because she has the demeanor, she has the leadership. Not to say that the fellow don't have leadership tendencies, but he have a little bit of baggage. He has a little bit of baggage, plain talk, bad manners. So this is what this other young lady, who I think is a PDP, says. Hadassah is her name. If you starve a dog long enough, he will be grateful when you finally feed him. Gary, you listening? Let me repeat that. If you starve a dog long enough, he will be grateful when you finally feed him. And I know very much that Diana knows about this because Diana has a dog. Nadia, you have a dog too. And all those people who own a dog, you know that that is very true, right? And when a dog does something, you reward him with food. So if you starve a dog long enough, let me lower this thing here. If you starve a dog long enough, you will finally feed him. He will be grateful, hold on, when you finally feed him. If you beat a man long enough, he will thank you when the blows finally stop. And the complete obliteration, of our economy that has excavated crime, poverty, and hopelessness, we are thanking the PM for finally lifting restrictions. This makes a whole lot of sense. And really and truly, I feel she sent this for Gary. I feel she was listening and she sent this to Gary. I just feel so. I don't know. But she might send that for Gary because it makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. And before we go, let's play this other one real quick here. The fella in Barbados, even the fella in Barbados now getting in the business. A man in Barbados, you know, jumping in the business, boy. I said, well, where is this? Honorary market vendor from Barbados. The man jumped in the fray, boy. Hold up. Nah. All right, I have to go back here. He jumped in the fray, Tommy. Jump in the business, just.
That's him.
Yeah. And the man talking about the Prime Minister, boy. Man only way in Barbados, you know. A man only way in Guyana, boy. And then the MP for Naparima, Rodney Charles, get the Prime Minister vexed, boy. And when he get the Prime Minister vexed, but told me that was a sad performance, though. Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a bad performance, boy. That going worldwide, you know.
Machiavelli here again today. Well, Trinidad and Tobago, I should really take Patrice's advice and drink water.
Let me go back there.
Mind your business.
This is me, Machiavelli.
Hold on.
Here again today. Well, Trinidad and Tobago, I should really take Patrice's advice and drink water and mind my business. But you know me, I like to get involved in the really. But let me tell you something. This video with Keith Rowley and the gentleman from Naparima, let me tell you something, all over the place. You know, the people that are sending it to me with comments and things, my friends in Trinidad and Tobago too as well. But somehow the gentleman from Naparima represented, I believe it's Naparima South, he seemed to get under Mr. Rowley's skin. And when he mentioned Barbados and Guyana, oh, lost, Mr. Rowley went off like a hot roti. Hold on. He said, we're out with you. What's all every time you get up to talk? All you hear is Barbados. Huh? And if you like Guyana so much, why you don't go there? Oh, lost and be a motley. And I am the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, we know that, Mr. Rowley. We know that you are the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Good dear. Well, lost. And then the Speaker of the House standing up and she said, order. Well, you know me, I think I would have heard a Trini friend of mine saying, 2 doubles and a bacon truck. That is my order. Oh, lost. The fella really got under Mr. Rowley's skin down there. When the fellow was talking about why Mr. Rowley was not in Guyana, he tell you straight, man, listen, if you want to go to Guyana so much and every time all you can talk about is Guyana, Barbados and things, man, why don't you go there? Well, the truth of the matter is, though, Mr. Rowley, a lot of Trinidadians are, in fact, coming here. Plenty Trinidad. Let me tell you something. And a lot of new arrivals too as well. Now, I don't know what is driving the influx of Trinbagonians to Barbados, but I could only tell you that I am meeting many of them on a regular basis. I'm going to meet some more next week for the first time. They're taking up jobs, they're opening businesses and so on in Barbados. So I have to wonder what it is that is driving all of these Trinidadians to Barbados. Now, when I was in Guyana, I also met a lot of Trinidadians down there, but I know the Trinidadians. Y'all are looking for business opportunities, so that was not unusual. Because I mean to tell you right now, Guyana is really the boomtown of the Caribbean. All day long, all you see in Guyana is rat-a-tat-a-tat, rat-a-tat-a-tat. You know what that is? It's hillties and excavation and all kinds of things going on and buildings going up. You go and sleep at night, when you wake up the next morning, you see a skyscraper in front of you. So where that come from, boy? And the building houses with swimming pools and things all over the place. Because with the local content law, they can't come and buy, the foreign companies can't come and buy up, property and things or build buildings. They got to rent it from locals. So the locals cashing in on it. So when he talking about Guyana, that's what he talking about, Mr. Rockley. He talking about the local content. The fella really getting under your skin. And I didn't even hear from, I didn't even hear from Dr. Rudy Modilal yet. Or Kamla Prasad, Mrs. R. So somebody riling up Mr. Rowley, but no, see, man, really think about Mia Motley and thing. You mentioning Mia Motley. What happened with mentioning Mia Motley? If Trinity's like Mia Motley, you can't really hold that against them, Mr. Rowley. And we know that you are the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, I never hear a leader having to get up and say, I'm the leader of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm Comrade Ralph. Or, I'm the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda. My name is Gaston Brown. Well, we know that. Everybody knows that you are a leader of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not sure what it is they want of you, and I'm not getting into that because I am going to drink the water and mind my business. I'm only a market vendor. But last, Mr. Rowley, don't let it get under your skin, so boy, because it would look like if something really bothering you. Anyhow, by the way, Mia Amar Motley right now, she just went up into Europe. She up there so delivering a big speech and thing, to the world leaders and so on. Yes. Anyhow, that's just by the way. Market golfer now. You have a blessed, wonderful day here. And listen, let me tell you, not only drink water and mind your business, get some doubles and some roti and so on, bacon sharp, man. Rest up yourself, cause let me tell you, stress the skill here. Don't let it kill you, Mr. Rowley. Market golfer now. Have a blessed and a wonderful day. You hear?
Market vendor.
Oh God, Elias, look at that, boy. The man is the talk of the Caribbean, boy. Talk of the Caribbean. Yeah, we had to bring back Lima. No doubt about it. She was excellent. All right, let me see what's going on here in the chat now. I think Elisa Pep, boy. Elisa P is not like the other alphabet letters party. Yeah, all right, let me see. All I know about Manning Street in downtown Toronto. All right, no, I didn't know that, Rowley. Take a picture and send it for me now. Yeah, Tommy, this is the person who said it. He said foreigners cannot contribute to U.S. elections. Well, Cyril, they may not be able to, but they do. U.S. citizens can contribute to foreign election if the foreign country allows it. Stop making up laws, my friend. Post a link. Cyril, there may be a law that says you can't do it, but it's done. Okay? Foreigners contribute to U.S. election all the time. And they don't have to contribute by sending a check. They could contribute by sending. For example, if a foreigner wants to give a 500 US to a party, he says foreigners cannot contribute to US elections. I don't think that's what you were saying, right, Tommy?
I thought it was both ways. Foreigners cannot contribute, and US citizens aren't supposed to meddle in foreign elections either.
This is what he says. U.S. foreigners cannot contribute to U.S. election. U.S. citizens can't contribute to foreign election if the foreign country allows it. Stop making up the laws, my friend. I think you know, Tommy, I think foreigners cannot contribute to U.S. election. I think that's accurate. You know? I'll have to look that up. I can look it up. But I know people who live in this country and who are citizens can contribute. And I think that was, I thought that was what you were saying, Tommy.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. I thought that's what you were saying.
But
go ahead. Sharon, we're gonna bring next week. We're gonna bring back Anderson in to get an update on the beatum, right? Okay. Research and Anselm. That was when she was there. Who's she talking about? Lima? No. That's not true, Rachel. She was here when I think she was here. Bonnie Robert says, Wall Street, did you give PNM any donation for the last election? If not, you have interest in your investment. If you did not get a check, Heinz, I'll go send them a thing. Oh, yeah, sorry, my bad, bro. Sorry. He's my PEP friend, you're not my UNC friend. My bad, no problem. I stand corrected, Philip. I stand corrected, Cyril. He's my PEP partner. You see, honestly, our partners, my PEP partner, Cyril. Right, Cyril, you see what has gone, Cyril? Look, we had Philip Alexander in here. We had Lima in here, and we want to bring in Hadassah too. Rose, good night. We full 100 here, man. We don't stop nobody. Rose, good night. Olio, let me say this, sir. I will tell Olio this, sir. Rowley, let me tell you this, sir. We do not care. We do not come here and tell people, share the life. I'd rather speak to 10 people who are about country than to speak to 500 people who only about party. That's me personally. Because it only takes one person, one person, to change a whole country, a world. One person. One. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and I could go on and on and on. So we don't care about
even George Floyd.
George Floyd, one person. George Floyd, one person, one. So all you go with that rhetoric, but they only had two and they only had three. We don't care about that. I don't care about that. I personally do not care about that. I don't care if that one person. One. So it doesn't matter. All you want to go with that rhetoric for we had 200 people. We had 200 people. I want to get up to 250. I want to get up to 300. All you go ahead with that, man. See how that has changed the country. What does that do for the country? What does that do for the country? And at least when you come into the village, you could go away with some brain food. At least when you come into the village and you leave, you get some brain food. And that is what we're about. Right? And listen to this. And we have people from the PEP, we have people from the PNM, we have people from the UNC, we have people from the PDP, we have, I don't know if we have any undercover COP. Oh God. We have people from all over. Right? So it's okay. It's okay, right? You see? And Hailey says last night on Fire Friday, Marshall rant and rave on a UNC supporter for half an hour. UNC pushing away people, they're not moving forward at all. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hey Rose, happy birthday, boy. You know, we actually, yeah, Rose, happy birthday, Rose. We should actually play a song for Rose, you know. If Rose still there, Rose, what song you want us to play for you?
Yeah, happy birthday, Rose.
Yeah, when you want to know how to go call Dominic program. Nah, Dominic doesn't let me call, man. He ain't blocked me yet. He ain't blocked me yet. So, folks, again, if you're still there, right? Rowley, Ray Stelt, Richard Ramu, Caris, and Cyril Ramador. Can you put closing comments in the chat? Put closing comments in the chat. I'm looking for closing comments. Oh, boy, what? Rose went to the beach for she birthday, boy. Nah, Rowley not resigning from the birthday. Yeah, boy. True, boy. Ray Stelt, I no joking, boy. Keep your friends close and your enemies close, boy. Yeah. Yeah. Happy birthday. Let's say happy birthday to Rose.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, Rose should have sent me a little picture or something, man. What? Oh, Ronnie said, did you get a van from Aisha? Nah, I ain't get banned. I ain't get banned. She didn't ban me because I didn't call that day. I didn't call, so she didn't have a reason to ban me. Rajvi saying, awesome speech in Atlanta by Trump. Well, should you guys be happy in 2024? Rajvi, Trump could come back, but he will come back and the same result will happen. The same result will happen. All right, folks. Yeah, Nizam want to know how to get them tune. I just look for them. I like them kind of song. Them is the song you had to play, man. Nizam say he gonna run the radio and play that song. Oh God. And only answer more attack Gary. Oh God, let's go to I'm going to make the next rolling iPad. All right, let me see. All right, this is Rajvi. Yeah. So well, that's how we just do it here in the village post. We just have Alana Miss and Mark and Shia Guinness. We just stretch this. So well, that's how we just do it in the village, you know. We just bring in people and we just get people to talk, you know. If so you have anybody in the PEP could come in and chat and give us information about how they can make the country better. We all for that. We about country. You could support your party, you know. Nobody tell you don't support your party. We never tell you don't support whoever you want to support. We just want to know how you will make the country better. That is it. Tell me how you will make your country better. And as I said, I like very much the young lady by the name of Lima. She was outstanding, very, very good. And tonight, Miss Lutchmedial was very good too. Very, very good. They're good. And you see, but other people, when you part of another party, you're not supposed to say anybody from the opposition good. All of them supposed to be bad. All of them. Any other party, them are no good. Them bad. No good. Don't talk nothing good about them. Even though they're good, they're bad. Even though they're bad, they're bad. That's how it's supposed to be. That's the politics in Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, answer my convinced this is the estrogen era, you know.
Yeah. All right, Tommy, closing comments?
Yes, sir. In life, no one will remember how you looked, walked, talked, or what you did. Everyone just remembers you by the way you make them feel when they were with you. And that's by Abdul Kalam. Pleasant good night, and I hope that everybody be safe out there, and we'll see you back here in the village on Tuesday at 7 p.m.
So Martin Luther King says, the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. Let me repeat that. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. And secondly, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. From where I said this is it, the clock on the wall said that's all. I like to stay, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. And for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. Let me read the closing comments here from the chat. We have closing comments by Cyril Ramada. This was your best interview ever. Very intellectual. Thank you very much, Cyril. Let me say a special happy birthday to Rose as well. Next one is next closing comment is, I gotta go back a little bit back. Nadia says, bye everyone, blessed night to all till we meet again in the village. Stay safe, people. Rajvi says, good night everyone, be safe. Remember, we are live in 2022. We are the future. Hold your head up high. We will survive. And I think that is it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Let me see if there's anything just came in. Rene Mohammed says,
we are all one.
Go ahead.
We are all one people under the same sun. Peace and love to everyone. Thank you, Rene.
Yeah.
Rennie.
Yeah. Nadia says, talking or doing nothing for the people in this country. All we doing is talk. I'm fed up of them. Lana says, bless, good night, all stay safe. We meet again. Love you all, bless. All right. So I think somebody wanted Valentino Revolution. Let me see if I could get that one. YouTube. Valentino Revolution. Okay, here we go. I think Hailey wanted this Valentina, T-I-N-O, Revolution. You know, we got to pay a little close attention because I don't know, but I think this is it, you know. Highly, I think it's No Revolution. So this is the one I think it is. It's No Revolution by Valentino.
They talk about power, doctor, it's you who have power. I know when you act, it would have been a horse of a different color. You give them an inch, they take a whole yard, and when you had them under your flinch, people say you're bad. Well, when I heard you address the nation, I knew what was your intention, but some of the powers you exercise, unfortunately, I must criticize.
We didn't want them trigger happy police. We only wanted to demonstrate in peace. Yet my people was held and charged for sedition. We was marching for equality, black unity, and black dignity. Dr. William, no, we didn't want no revolution.
Hello?
Yeah, yes?
I was about to leave.
Must be aware
and I lost the whole
that the black consciousness
I'm like,
is
I
here.
thought I would be out here to make money.
I further declare it's time that we get an equal share. It's black blood, black sweat, and black tears. But it's white profits. Cause all through the years, it's the white man who reaping the benefits. But now we are coming down from the shelf, and we are getting to know ourselves. So let us hail the stranger for bringing all black people together. Because the fight was against racial prejudice, the imperialists, the capitalists, yet some ignorant people they talk about communism. We didn't want all this other burning down and the smashing of all them stores in town. Dr. William, no, we didn't want no revolution. A citizen should withstand the wrong things in this country. Regardless to what happened, that is my ideology. All we meeting with is oppression and a set of trials and tribulation, sorrows and pain. When we try to shake up the government, the result was police ill treatment. But justice must be done, otherwise history going to punish you worse than you punish me. Well, at least you got a reason, cause we didn't mean to commit no treason, and my brothers didn't want to army rebellion. We didn't want no state of emergency. We didn't want this police brutality. Dr. William, no, we didn't want no revolution.